Hello and welcome to the FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship. It is the final round here at Red Lodge, where we have 30 fantastic races still to come, where championships are yet to be decided. But before we get into that, let's have a chat to some of the riders in the paddock. So we're here with Finlay, Paul Hill. Finlay, how have you felt your seasons went on both the 50s and in the elites?
Oh, it's gone brilliant. I couldn't have asked for anything else. The 50's been brilliant. Got a couple of podiums and won a couple of the mini races. I don't know what else I'd really need.
And well, we've been keeping up to date with you over the course of the season. Are you fully healed now? Is there nothing holding you back as a rider physically?
No, nothing really. Just can't straighten it and get a bit more strength in it, then I'll be fine.
And on your mini moto, has it been the season that you've wanted?
Yeah, well, probably not going to do it next year because we're selling the bike, but it would have been nice to win it, but can't help that I broke my arm.
And when have you been on track? Of course, you've had quite a lot of times off track with your injury and quite a lot of rebuilding of your arm. So when you've been on track, have you got the results that you've been wanted, or has there been a point in the season, a track of the season, that you've really struggled with?
Well, the track that I've struggled with the most is probably Landau. Even though it was probably my best results, it's such a physical track that it's hard to get round, if you see what I mean.
And talking about physicality on your Mini GP50, has it been quite a tough bike to ride?
It's a lot harder than the Mini. The gear change is a bit different around every track. You've got to figure that out, and yeah, just get ready for the races this weekend.
And looking forward to this weekend, what is your hopes for this weekend? Are you hoping to get some race wins, maybe even in the 50s?
Yeah. Well, I'm not too far off the lap times at the minute, so I could win a couple in the Mini and a couple in the 50, which would be nice.
And is there a point of the track that maybe is a weak spot at the moment that you still need to work on?
Well, it's my favourite track, so it can't be that weak.
And finally, next year you've mentioned that you're selling the Mini Moto. Is it just all in the 50s, or maybe can we see towards the end of the season maybe even a little shot in the 70s?
Yeah, so I think what we're going to do is mainly do the 50s, but then do some of the 70 practices.
Well, good luck, and we can't wait to see you on a Mini GP 70.
Thank you.
So we're here with Annabelle McCarthy, who's been racing in the rookies all year and is making the step up to the pros this round. Annabelle, how are you feeling going into the final weekend?
It's nerve-wracking because I'm on a pro bike, but it's actually it's a shame because I've enjoyed doing this whole season, but at least I've enjoyed it.
And what's been the biggest difference between the rookie bike and the pro bike so far?
The biggest difference is that there's difference in power. There's a lot more concentration on the pro bike than there is the rookie.
And how have you felt like your seasons went as a whole in the rookie class?
I think it's gone really well, but of course I've got a disadvantage because how tall I am.
And with you being so tall, how do you have to change up your riding? Do you have to push harder through the corners?
I had to push harder down the straights, the corners, basically nearly everything. I had to duck down more than everybody else.
And with the pros, have you got any aims for yourself this weekend since you're stepping up to a new class?
I've got some aims, which is don't crash, have fun, and enjoy the whole weekend.
And have you had any tips so far off any other pro riders or any of your parents?
My dad's saying give it all you've got and duck down, go around the corners, be flow, don't be static. That's it, really.
And although it's just the start of your racing career, where do you hope to be in the future? Where's your dreams in racing?
My dreams in racing is to just have fun, don't muck up, don't embarrass yourself, and to come fast.
Is there any particular series that you would want to get into in the future? Any championship?
Probably MotoGP.
And do you have any heroes currently in MotoGP at the moment?
No, not really.
Well, good luck for this round, and good luck on the pro bike. We all hope it goes well for you.
Thank you.
So we're here with Matthew Thomas. Matthew, how are you feeling this weekend and heading into the final round of the FAB-Racing Championship?
Quite good. This is my favourite track, and so far I'm in second. So I'm trying to get fast, but I'm second, third, fastest.
And conditions today on track has been quite windy, so how is it like riding a mini moto in the windy conditions? Do you feel it at all?
No, because you're quite low down. For the bigger bikes, I think you would, because more wind are going to hit you. And for the minis, you're more going close to the ground, so you won't feel it.
And with it being the end of the season, you've done 8 rounds after this weekend. What's been the biggest thing that you've learned from this season?
Don't crash and don't get the throttle on too early. Too late, I mean.
So consistency is absolute key.
Yes.
And outside of the racing, how have you felt like the FAB paddock's been? Has it been a paddock you've enjoyed and had a lot of fun in?
Yes.
And do you have many friends here at FAB?
Yeah.
And on track, who would you say is your biggest competitor?
Byron.
And why is that?
Because he's, I'm getting quite, at Ella I got quite close to him, but he just nipped me on the last lap. I tried to get him back on the second corner, but I put it on too early and it flung me up.
And looking back on this season finally, what has been your standout moment? What's been your favourite moment of this season?
Probably the race to Ella Park.
And why is that?
Because I was quite close to coming first.
Well, good luck for this final round, and we hope to see you back next year.
Thank you.
So we're here with Rex Austin. Rex, how are you this weekend? You have a smile on your face. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah.
And what's been the thing you've enjoyed most about this weekend? Is it a track that you like?
Sort of. Not my favourite.
And why is that?
I'm just not very good in the tight chicane bits.
And looking back in the season, has there been any points of the season that really stand out as the favourite point, the favourite round maybe?
Wilton Mill, I got a second. It's my first ever podium in the Pro, so I think that was the more of the up bit than the down bit.
And how have you found the wet conditions this year? Because weather's been changing quite a lot.
I found out that I'm better in the wet than I am in the dry, but I've been working on trying to get a wet and dry podium this year.
And what do you feel like you're slightly missing in the dry that gives you that half a second?
I don't actually know. My dad's trying to improve the bike for me, and I'm really excited for the final round.
And a flip side to that question, in the wet, what makes you different from everyone else? What makes you so confident in the wet conditions?
Because I got my first win in the wet, because Matthew Thomas crashed out the lead at Landau last year, and then I won, and that just boosted my confidence in the wet. But ever since then, I've been close to podiums in the wet, more than the closer to the dry.
And finally, how have you found the FAB paddock this season with all your friends?
Very, very nice. I really like it. I think it's better than being at home. Watching my sister riding around the village on my sister's bike, which is annoying because it makes my legs really tired.
Well, good luck for this weekend and good luck next year.
Thank you.
So we're here with Kai Hawken racing in the AC40 Rookies. Kai, how have you felt like your season's went?
Good.
And why is that?
Because I've had some good results, and 5th is my best result so far.
And heading into this weekend, have you got any objectives on where you want to finish?
Top 5.
And based on the practice times, do you feel like that's a possibility this weekend?
Yes.
And how have you found FAB this year in the paddock and with all your friends?
Really good.
And next year, have you got any plans set in stone and maybe moving up a class?
No, I'm going to stay in the Rookies and try and win the championship.
So is next year full-on championship attack?
Yeah.
And how have you felt like this season's went compared to what you thought it was going to go at the start of the year? Has it went the way that you expected?
Not really. I didn't think I'll get this good.
And so have you surprised yourself with your times every single round?
Yes.
And where do you aspire to be in the future? Where do you want to go with your racing career?
BSB.
In the British Superbike class? And who do you look up to in the British Superbikes at the moment?
Jason O'Halloran.
Well, good luck this season. Hopefully we can see you in the British Superbike paddock in the future.
Yeah, thanks.
So we're here with Max Johnson. Max, how have you felt like your seasons went?
It's going okay, 12th in championship, and we're here in Wed Lodge, and Wed Lodge is a really narrow track, and yeah, I just like all the corners, and yeah, it's just a fast track.
And this season we've seen some outshining performance from you, and we've seen even leading a race at Clay Pigeon. So tell us, what was that like leading your first ever race?
It was a bit like nervous, to be fair. I felt a bit like nervous leading the race, and yeah, I pushed as hard as I can, but unfortunately I crashed. But like at Wilton Mill, started 13th on the grid and I finished 5th, which was good.
And how do you deal with that pressure while you're on the bike?
Well, sometimes I change like different like sprockets on my bike, and every practice just see how it is. Like some sprockets could be fast and some sprockets could be like slow.
And talking about Clay Pigeon and Wilton Mill, of course it was wet conditions there, so tell us, why do you think you're so good in the wet?
I don't know, it's just on the corners I'm probably faster than on the streets, and not to be nervous about the wet, and I just like in the wet.
And do you change anything up with your riding style from wet to the dry?
Well, I just take it steady sometimes, but some tracks are like grippy where you can literally go like flat out, and some tracks like Clay Pigeon, Wilton Mill are like really slippy.
Well, good luck this weekend, and we wish you all the best for the final round of the season.
Thank you very much.
So we're here with Mason Fredericks, racing in the AC40 Rookies. Mason, how have you found this year here at FAB?
Good, I haven't been here for the whole year. I started this year at Ella.
And how has the learning curve been? Has it been very tricky to get up to the times?
Yeah. At Landau, I got my first 105, and then now I'm getting like 104s, and I'm only like 5 seconds off the leader.
And have you got any aims for this weekend since it's the final round?
I'm trying to get into the top 10, and yeah.
And outside of FAB, how has school been with you having to take so much time off school to race here?
Good, but for this round, I forgot to take my reading book time, so I'll probably be in trouble.
Well, I'm sure it'll all be worth it. This weekend, how are you feeling? Are you a bit nervous since it's the final round?
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous going into last rounds.
And how have you found this track here at Red Lodge?
Quite a lot of the chicanes. On the first one you go around that bit and then go on the left-hander and then the right-hander, and then on that right-hander I'm like, no, because I keep clipping the curb. But that's really the only part I'm struggling with.
Well, good luck this weekend, and we wish you all the best, and hopefully you can improve on your times and your lines around this circuit.
Thank you.
So we're here with Austin Johnson, brother of Byron. Austin, how have you felt like your seasons went? Because of course you wrapped up the championship already in the LC40 Elites.
It's been good. I've had a DNF or two at Wilton, but that's in the past now.
And has that really been your weak point this season, Wilton Mill? Has that been a round that you look back on and think that you could have done better in?
Yeah, I think I could have done better, but mechanical issues don't help either.
And you've obviously had a shot on the Mini GP50 this year, and you've been looking very, very strong in it. What has that been like to ride?
It's been all right. I've just managed today to catch up to my brother's lap times and Finny pole hills. So hopefully in the race I can be up with them.
And talking about your brother, what is it like racing with your brother on track?
He's very quick and hard to overtake.
On track, do you treat your brother like anyone else, just make moves when you can?
Yeah, probably.
And with the LC40 Elites, will you be moving on from it next year, or will you be trying to defend your crown?
I'm going to be moving up onto the MK50s, but if there's no one in the Elites, I may go back for a weekend.
Well, we wish you luck for that, and we hope to see you up the front in the Mini GP 50s next year and this weekend.
Thank you.
So we're here with Byron Johnson, the AC40 Pro Championship winner for 2022. Byron, just tell us, how did you win the championship this year? How were you so dominant?
I'm not sure. I just try my best.
And in the LC40 Elite class that you've also been racing in, how do you feel like that's went, getting second place in the championship?
Good.
And how have you had to race differently? Because of course you've been on a different style of bike to your brother Austin.
I'm not sure.
And with the mini motors this year, you've also had a go on the Metric Kit Mini GP 50. What's been the biggest difference racing a mini moto to the bigger bike?
The bigger bikes are a lot bigger and a bit faster than the other ones, and you have to carry a lot more corner speed.
And how have you found the gears?
I found it all right. I got a few false neutrals.
And last round you were very, very fast at very quick time straight away. Why would you say that is? Is that just your experience that you've had already, or are you just suited to that bike?
I don't know, I quite like those bikes. And I quite like the wet on those as well. I haven't done much wet riding, but when I first did it, it was quite fun in the wet.
And heading into the season, did you expect to be so dominant in the AC40 Pros?
Not really.
And finally, next year, what is your plans for next season? Will you be on the Metric Kit again and the LC40 Elites again? What's your plans?
I do the 50s and the Elites.
And what's your objectives in both of them championships? Where do you want to finish?
I want to maybe third, second in the 50s and first in the Elites.
Well, good luck for next season. We wish you all the best for then and this weekend.
Thank you.
So we're here with Bethany Ashby. Bethany, I've been seeing that you've been testing the Mini GP 50 quite a few times this year. How have you felt like that's went?
It's been going good. It's just difficult learning all the gears, but overall it's been going really well.
And what's been the learning curve of the Mini GP 50? What's been the hardest part to adapt to while you're on the track?
Learning the gears and how to use the clutch properly.
And have you had to change your riding style at all to suit the bigger bike?
Yes.
What have you had to change differently?
I've had to change the way my arms are positioned and my legs.
And are you planning on doing any races on it this year? Are you planning on racing it this weekend?
Yeah, we're racing it this weekend.
And with you still being quite a rookie to the Mini GP 50 class, what aims are you setting yourself?
Just trying to overtake someone and getting a good qualify.
And do you think you can learn quite a lot of other riders just following them around? What have you learned so far from your other competitors?
I've learned where they're braking and what their lines they're taking and what gears they're in through the corners.
And finally, next season, is it a full season on the Mini GP 50? Is that what you're aiming for?
Yeah, we're hoping to do the full season next year on the 50.
And have you got any aims for that?
Trying to get the top 5 in the 50s next year.
Well, good luck and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
So we're here with Frankie Watson and Archie O'Brien racing in both the 50s, and Archie's racing in the 70s. So first of all, Archie, you won, well, you got your first ever race win last time out. How do you feel about that? Because obviously it was quite controversial circumstances.
Well, it's still a win, and really glad that we managed to get it last time out, and there's no pressure for this round, but it was a bit controversial, but there's no hard feelings in the paddock about it.
Yeah, it's just a part of racing, sadly. But Archie, because you've got that first win now, do you feel like maybe you can start getting more race wins now that you no longer have that pressure?
Well, we'll just take it as it comes. If we don't win, then it's not a big deal, but hopefully we can push on for some wins this weekend.
And next to you is Frankie Watson, racing in the 50s as well. So, Frankie, how have you felt like your seasons went?
It's a good rookie season. 5th in the championship. 5th. It's good.
And what would you say has been the biggest thing that you've learnt this year on the Mini GP 50?
Definitely leaning off the bike a lot more and a lot more physically like that.
And heading into this weekend, how are you feeling towards it?
Just no pressure, just like any normal weekend really.
And talking about the final weekend, Archie, you're in a championship fight with Luke Fitchett right now. Are you under some sort of pressure for that? Do you feel like you have to really get them results now?
Not at all. We're just going to take it as a normal weekend, and hopefully we get some wins, then we can take it to the second race. But if not, then Luke wins the championship. So
do you feel like there's still a chance for you to win the championship? Do you feel like there's still a realistic chance?
there's obviously a mathematical chance, but realistically I think we're kind of out of it, but we can still go out there and have fun.
And how have you found the 70 practicing here at Red Lodge? How have you felt like the MiniGP 70 is going?
Yeah, it's going pretty well so far. We're only 2/10 off second really, so hopefully we can push on and maybe get my first podium on the 70 this weekend.
So finally, a question to both of you. Archie, you first. What is your aim for this weekend, and are you just aiming to get the points home and get that championship positions locked in?
Well, we're just going to go out there, secure the points and see if we can get some wins. If not, we're not going to be too sad because we've always got next year to focus on.
And Frankie, where are you planning on finishing this weekend? Where do you hope that you're going to finish?
Hopefully podium, so yeah.
Well, good luck to the both of you. I hope you all get the results you want, and I can guarantee that you guys are going to put on a cracking race for everyone at home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So some MiniGP 70 riders just waiting to go out for one of their sessions right now, so let's have a quick chat with them. Guys, I know you're just about to head out, but how are you feeling going into this weekend as it's the final round?
I'm feeling quite good because it's quite a tight and twisty track, and I started at like M4 karting, so it's a bit different to all the other tracks, but in the last session I topped the 70s and the 50s, so I'm feeling pretty confident.
And how are you feeling as well?
Pretty good about this weekend. I've been here quite a bit before and feeling ready.
And Ronnie, you've been doing wildcards in the British Talent Cup. How has that went for you, and how have you found the Moto3 style machine?
I see the bike a lot better, and we did really well last weekend, and we were only 1.2 seconds off the leaders, so hopefully going into it next year we could get top 10s and top 15s, so looking forward to it.
And how are you feeling? Because you've had quite some crashes this year. At Clandau you had quite a big crash. Are you fully recovered from that?
Yeah, I fractured my shoulder, but I'm fully recovered now, and we're struggling a bit with gearing, but we're not too far off the pace, so hopefully finish the season nicely.
And finally, a question to all three of you. It's the end of 2022. What are the plans for 2023?
We'll try and do the Talent Cup, but I will still do FAB, probably the Extreme 200s for track time, and I might even do the Senior Mini Motos for a bit of fun.
And look, will we see you back in the MiniGP 70s next year, or maybe even the 50s?
Yes, our main goal next year is to be up the front in the 70s, but I think we're doing the 50s as well, just because there's not another class I can run in, and it's just you get a lot more track time, so I think I'm doing both again, so hopefully we can win one championship next year.
And plans for next year?
I think either 70s or Moto 5 in Spain.
Well, good luck. I can see now they're just heading out for their bikes, so you better get out there. Good luck for the rest of the season. Good luck for this weekend.
Thank you.
So here's Scott Jurett riding in the Moto Team Standard class. So Scott, final weekend of the year, how are you feeling heading into it?
Okay. Some slight issues with the bike so far, but hopefully get them resolved for race day. Otherwise, yeah, it's my home circuit, so I know it quite well. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
And what sort of issues have you been having with the bike so far in practice?
I just threw my chain in the last practice, so that's not ideal. So hopefully I've sorted that out now, got the tensioning right on it. Otherwise, yeah, it's going all right.
A Moto Team this year, of course, it's two classes in one race, and somehow it still creates some excellent racing for us to watch. So why don't you tell us what is it exactly like riding one of these motorcycles around these go-kart tracks?
What's it like? So obviously they're quite a lot longer than the other bikes, so you have to take like more sweepy lines rather than on the smaller wheel bikes and shorter wheelbase. They turn a lot quicker. So you've got to take different lines. Otherwise, I mean, obviously they don't have the power of the 140s, so it's all about trying to carry more corner speed as well. So it's a little bit different to your pit bikes.
And of course, championship positions are on the line. Are you feeling any pressure going into the weekend because of that?
A little bit. If I finish third in all races, I can steal third place by 1 point. It's all on the line this weekend. No pressure.
And who would you say your main contenders and rivals are going to be actually in the race itself this weekend based on the times in practice?
Right, so that would be my stepbrother riding this one, Dissy, 357. We're, like I say, we're both local, so we both know the track quite well. Both very different bikes. So lap times as well, they're almost identical, so it's going to be very tight.
And of course, this being your home track, is it a track that you enjoy racing at, and what is it like to race on as a circuit?
I do enjoy the track, obviously I know it quite well. What's it like? It's very physical. Like I said, the infield is quite tight, especially for these longer bikes, so you really have to wrestle the bikes around the infield. Even with the back straight, you don't get a lot of respite, so it's a very, very physical track.
Well, good luck this weekend, and we wish you all the best, and hopefully you can get that third place in the championship.
Lovely, thank you very much.
So we're here with Simon Portis. It's his first ever FAB-Racing weekend. So first of all, Simon, how are you today, and how are you finding your first weekend here at FAB?
I'm feeling good. Everyone's very quick. I've not had a lot of practice, but I'm getting there slowly but surely.
And how are you finding the circuit? I'm guessing it's probably your first time here at Red Lodge.
It is my first time here. Yeah, I'm gelling with it quite well. I'm struggling with this top corner here. I don't know where to get my gear changing down.
And what's been your biggest challenge this season? Because you've said that you've raced in other championships this year, but overall you've not had too much track time.
I've raced in the B&B for one round. My biggest challenge has been getting rained on quite a lot last weekend.
And how have you found racing with these guys? Because the pit bike classes are so hard racing.
Yeah, they're quick. I've done a few track days and sort of the tail end of the quick group, and I wasn't really prepared for quite how quick everyone's going in the pit bike class. I'm sort of clinging on to the back of the pack, but I guess it is what it is, being my first weekend. I'm sure we'll get there eventually.
And it's your first ever weekend. Have you got any aims or objectives heading into it, or are you just going to go out there and have some fun?
I'm hoping not to come last. I came last the weekend before. If I come anywhere but last, I'll consider that a victory.
And before coming on the pit bikes, have you had any motorbike racing experience at all?
I've done a few track days on the road bike, but I've never raced before, and then I got a dirt bike as well. So.
Well, we wish you all luck for this weekend, and hopefully you don't come last.
Well, thank you very much. Hopefully I need a bit of luck not to come last, but God willing.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So we're here with Lucas Brown, British Talent Cup rider, and he's been racing at FAB pretty much all year. So Lucas, how are you this weekend?
Feeling good. I've just been out with the pit bike lot for a few sessions, and we're getting there. I think we're still quite well off the times, but the track's pretty cold, so.
And how have you found this track so far?
I've been here, I think, 3 times this year already, which is the most I've been to any track in the UK, so it's been pretty good.
And obviously you've been racing for quite a long time, you have quite a lot of experience under your belt at such a young age, so what would you say is the most difficult part about this circuit?
Probably the infield, just trying to get the bike to flow from side to side. You know, it's like, if it's a lot not flowing, it's not very fast, which is kind of a weird sensation.
And of course you've been racing the British Talent Cup this season. You were racing at Donington Park last weekend for the last round of the championship. How did that weekend go for you, and how was the season as a whole?
The weekend went brilliantly. I know we were a little bit off in practice. We only got one session, but in qualifying we managed to make it up for the 5th, and then in the race 1 I think we went up to 4th and finished 4th, and then I finished 5th, I think, with like a huge group, in which I even led the race, which was a good start. So yeah, and then the season's gone pretty well. I finished every race in the points. I finished every race apart from the first 2 in the top 10. So it's been a great year.
And would you say you've got exactly what you've hoped for this season, or were you hoping for maybe some more podiums?
I'd say we got everything ticked off apart from the podium. We wanted a podium this year, but it wasn't meant to be. So.
And looking forward to 2023, what is your plans for next year? Have you got anything set in stone just yet?
I'm going to be racing British Link Cup again, I know, but I don't know after that. We're not quite sure, but at the moment it's British Link Cup for next year.
And we were just speaking before this interview that you are quite a tall rider, especially compared to some of our riders in the British Talent Cup. How do you adapt to the motorcycle whenever you have to compete with such smaller riders?
Well, first off, we have a different bike. We have we have different parts, not a different bike. We have like an extended seat unit and stuff like that. But it's hard to tuck, especially with the smaller riders not punching a big of a hole. But it's not too bad. We have the strength through the corners. They have the strength down the straights, but it's fine.
And heading into the winter, how are you planning on keeping fit for FAB and for British Talent Cup for next season?
I'm going to be doing a lot of bike training, a lot of training on a 600, but I will also be doing a lot of gym work. Whenever I'm not in the Spain, hopefully I'll just be in the gym, just training. But yeah, it should be.
Well, good luck for this weekend and good luck for next year.
Yeah, thank you.
So we're here in the paddock at the moment, and the senior Minimoto guys are having a little discussion over maybe what's happened or trying to fix an issue with the bike. So let's find out what is going on and what's happening with them. So guys, what's going on at the moment?
Well, he doesn't know what he's doing, so we're helping him out.
And what exactly are you changing with the bike?
His steering dampener, because he crashes all the time and he doesn't know what he's doing really. He was crying earlier, couldn't fix it on his own.
And guys, how are you feeling heading into the weekend? Of course, you're competing for the championship.
Yeah, Will's not coming though. Will's he's done now, so.
Back is broke.
So how does that change your approach at all?
We're going to take transponders off because Will deserves to win it.
So we're just going to ride around
and let Will win.
Yeah.
Are you did that as well?
Maybe, yeah. Been told though if I do well, then FAB-Racing's going to buy me a new bike.
Well, how are you feeling at this track? Is it a track you enjoy?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind any of them. It's tight, but I'm fat, so it helps me out.
And let's have a little chat to your friend here. So, are you new into racing?
Yeah, so first season this year.
And what has these boys taught you?
Nothing. Yeah, how to crash. No, they've been great though. Helping with the bike and stuff. I've rode indoor for a while. Yeah, there you go. That's what I brought, and they had to give me this. No, it's been really good first season. Taught me a lot of things. Know how to do a clutch now.
And what's been the biggest thing you've learned on the track?
Carrying more speed, but then I crash.
And what's it like riding one of these bikes? Well, you're quite tall for this bike, so what's it like riding it?
It's not too bad. It's all right. Get used to it.
And Reese, how are you feeling yourself?
Yeah, I feel alright to be fair. Yeah, don't feel too bad. Matt and Nat showed me how the better line and that, but I feel alright, feel good. So good weather, so can't complain at the minute. So still early days, but a good weekend so far.
And it's been quite windy today. With you being such a tall rider on this bike, does that affect it more?
Down the straight a little bit, but it's not too bad on the bike to be fair. I'll be honest, not too bad. It's alright, yeah, so far so good. Not like lid anyway, so all good. Yeah, can't mind too much.
And if we look back at your season, how have you felt like it's went?
Yeah, didn't expect a third last round and that, and yeah, speaked all the way through to be honest with you. This year I wanted top 10, getting top 3s now, so I can't mind at all. Can't mind. It's been a good progression forward, but like I said, everyone has been helping, and can't mind at all. It's been a good season. Looking for.
Jump the start though.
Yeah, I do. Apparently I jump starts, but
start. You got done for jumping the start.
So is that some cheating going on in the seniors?
He could have had a 3rd overall last round, but he jumped the start, and that was it. Weekend done for him.
And what would you say has been your highlight of this season and your low point of the season?
Last round, getting my first third, my first podium, a genuine third, and then low point. Do you know what? This season I can't really low point. ain't really got one, to be honest with you. I genuinely haven't got one this season. Last season, like, it was a bit shit with the engines and stuff. And just having like problem after problem. But this season, like, genuine mechanical issues have been fine, and just slow progressions. This season, I can't really. Yeah, I haven't got like a specific moment where I say like, oh, that was really crap. That weekend was crap. Like, I didn't have it at all. So genuinely, this year's been. I've been really lucky. I think. Yeah, had a good round, good year. So yeah, all in all, it's been good. So I can't really give you an answer to the last question, but last round was my best one so far. 2 I remember anyway. But yeah, all been good. Been good.
And finally, who do you think is going to be the winner this weekend? Who do you all guys think that's going to be the race winner this weekend? Who do you think is going to have the upper hand on everyone?
Richard Holmes-Williams.
Yeah, it's got to be the same, isn't it? Yeah. Tractor boy.
Do you guys agree? Richard Holmes-Williams for the win in the seniors?
Definitely, yeah.
Do you agree as well?
Yeah, definitely.
And just a quick nod of the head or shake, yep. Everyone in the senior mini moto class thinking Richard Holmes-Williams, the tractor boy, is going to take the race win this weekend. It's going to be an action-packed weekend for the senior mini moto guys, I am sure. Close, hard racing and friends off track.
So here we are then with Marco Holt, who, well, for obvious reasons, unfortunately, won't be competing for the Mini GP 50s Championship this weekend. But Marco, first things first, how's the recovery going?
Yeah, it's going well. It feels a lot better, which is a good thing. Well, hopefully we can return for Lydden Hill, which will be good if we can. So we'll see if we can.
And well, again, despite the fact that obviously you're not competing for the championship this weekend, I think, you know, it's been a real season for you again. You were the vice champion from last year. You were leading the way for a long time this year, putting some great results. Has it been a season you've been happy with?
Yeah, I've enjoyed the season. I'm happy with it, but I think it could have been a bit better.
And what's the plan looking forward to 2023 then? You still going to be hanging around FAB-Racing, maybe moving up to the 70s?
Yeah, I think we're going to stick in the 70s and maybe do the 50s again. And then Spain, we've got a team looking at us in Moto 4, possibly we might do it. But we most like to stay on the Moto 5 and just learn some more.
So finally get your hands on that 50s title then?
Yeah.
And well, I mean, obviously it must be a bit weird for you being at the track and, you know, not being on the bike and just watching from the sides, but what's that like, you know, seeing all your friends out there, you know, racing, and you're just kind of sat there watching? Are you maybe trying to learn anything from just watching, or?
Yeah, you could learn like lines and see what they're doing for next year, but it's just a bit of a teaser really, because it's just boring just sitting there watching them when you've not been riding for so long.
Well, the real racer's mind. Thank you very much, Marco, and well, great to see you back in the paddock.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to round 8 of the FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship. We're here at Red Lodge and this is the final round of the championship. There's still plenty of championships that are yet to be decided, and 30 incredible races are coming up this weekend. My name is Lewis Ray and alongside me this weekend is Ross McIntyre. So Ross, how are you at the final round of the championship?
I am doing superb, thank you, Lewis. It is a beautiful day out here near Thetford Forest, and well, we've got a great day, a great weekend's worth of racing to look forward to, and as you said, is the finale, the FAB-Racing finale of 2022. It's been a long season, but now we're here, round 8, just 3 more races for each of these categories to look forward to. And while some of the championships did get wrapped up last time out at Rowra, we still have the opportunity for a few of them to go. So we're going to have to wait and see. Some of them very, very close. Some of them, realistically looking at it, you're thinking it's going to be a big ask for maybe those in the chasing pack to catch up to the leaders. But plenty on offer, and Red Lodge, what a circuit to end the season on. Super tight, super technical, a huge fast circuit, and it's narrow. It's so difficult to overtake around here. It's a real test of the rider's ability.
Yeah, it certainly is, but it's great conditions for these guys today. Currently on track, we have the qualifying twos of the LC40 Elites. This will decide the grid for all 3 races this weekend, because here at FAB your qualifying position wherever you qualify, it means that's where you start for all 3 races. So it's so important to get these laps and then qualifying. But earlier on today, it was tricky conditions. It was very sketchy for these guys, and the track was half wet, half dry. So this is the first really full dry running that these guys are getting today. So just trying to get their eye in the game and get the laps in. And there is Byron Johnson on your screen. He's had such an impressive season, not only in the LC40 Elites, but also on the AC40 Pros. And it's really just showing how great both the Johnson brothers are.
Absolutely. I mean, the Johnson brothers, we see Byron on the 37 taking the AC40 Pro Championship, and then Austin, the older of the two, on the 27. He has mathematically wrapped up the LC40 Elite Championship, and although technically Byron Johnson can tie Austin on points, Austin would take the title on countback. So those guys are all done and dusted, but those two, they've had a phenomenal pair of seasons, the both of them. Of course, Austin, the older brother, focusing his entire campaign on this LC40 Elite Championship, and over the last couple of rounds he's actually making a few appearances on the mini GP bikes as well. He's got one of the Johnson brothers actually going down there, and that's Austin. So just as I was singing Austin Johnson's praises, he's actually gone down in turn 1. So problems there perhaps early doors, but very interesting to see. Hopefully everyone is all okay, but yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, not what you're wanting in your qualifying, trying to get the handlebars straightened up so you can get back on track for the final moments of this qualifying session. But Austin Johnson just looking a bit stiff after that crash, but he was on his feet, and now he looks like he's just waiting to see if they can get that bike restarted. But currently top of the session is Austin Johnson. But with the way qualifying works, your Q1 and your Q2 times get combined, so it will actually mean that Byron Johnson will be starting in pole position because he set a 49.250, while Austin currently in the session has a 49.265. So he just has a little bit to catch his brother to nab that pole position. So he has to get back on track and just try to get a good lap time in, but if not, he's still in the front row. It's still good qualifying. Currently George Ackerman trying to follow Dylan Tureen been so impressive this season. You've just seen his confidence and skills constantly progressing, and he's even having the shot at the mini GP50 yesterday in practice, and it's so great to see these riders coming through the ranks and progressing. But just 1 minute and 50 seconds left in this qualifying 2 session, and Austin Johnson, who's at the top of the timesheets in this session, he is out, and he has crashed out at turn 1, so not what he was wanting at all. But this opens up the door because this track is not going to be as busy for these guys, so they have clear track in front of them and can really just focus on their lines, because at this track your lines are so important.
Absolutely. I mean, you can see here just through turn or sector 1 rather, just how tight and technical it is. It's a real old school style of karting circuit here at Red Lodge. Just loops back in on itself again and again and again. It's just hairpins and 90-degree corners, and it is really narrow out there. The cameras really don't do it justice just how narrow it is, with only a minute left to go in this session. So for the mini moto guys, it won't be too bad. It's a little bike, you can haul around it, but the bigger bikes is a bit of a struggle. And actually, some of the bigger bikes, so some of the sidecars, for example, they actually cut out some of the first sector. They miss out this middle loop section because it's just simply too tight and twisty for them. They can't make it round there. So, where you see now those cones are, they'll be joining that back straight there. So it is a really difficult circuit. Going to be tough to overtake as well, so you're going to have to put on a really good display if you want to get a good result. And qualifying here, potentially the most crucial qualifying session of the year, and especially for those still in championship fights. Of course, this LC40 Elite Championship is done and dusted. Austin Johnson, your champion, with Byron Johnson confirmed into P2 as well, although P3 is still up for grabs between Finlay Polhill, Harrison Day, Matthew Thomas and Sam Garner. I believe is just in mathematical chance of getting in there as well, but he's got a tall order ahead of him if he wants to get into that P3 in the championship at the end of the weekend. And look, you were mentioning people like Dylan Tureen and their progress throughout the year, Lewis, and this is what's been so amazing about FAB-Racing this year. Is obviously this LC40 Elite class is the final mini moto class for the young riders before they make that jump onto the mini GPs, and this is where you really start to make your money. This is where you really start to prove what you can do as a motorcycle racer, and it's just fantastic to see them developing, race on race, lap on lap, and we've seen some real jumps in skill level, some real fantastic characters throughout the paddock, going from the back of the grid towards the front of the grid throughout the season. And as the checkered flag is out, there is your reigning champion, who will have his championship celebrations at some point this weekend, Austin Johnson. Not how he wanted qualifying to end, walking back to the pits with a battered bike, but still starting on the front row alongside his brother. And again, he's already wrapped up the title, so he's probably out here just for a bit of fun more than anything.
Yeah, he's just out there to enjoy himself. Of course, he will be on the Mini GP 50 as well this weekend, so a lot to focus on, a lot to really set his mind on. But now these guys coming back into the pit lane. There's Ollie O'Gorman on your screen as well, of course, brother of Casey O'Gorman, who's racing at Aragon this weekend in the European Talent Cup. So it's so great to see Ollie O'Gorman coming back after missing a couple of rounds as he was on holiday. But that is qualifying done for the LC40 Elites. It will be Byron Johnson on pole position from his brother Austin, and Phil and Paul Hill consistently been sitting in that third place all weekend, really. All yesterday in practice, he was in that place and really just putting in consistent laps and maybe even focusing on his race pace. But now these guys are coming back into the pit lane. Before we can get started with our next qualifying session, is the senior mini motos for qualifying to the championship is yet to be decided.
And the championship is wide open as well, because championship leader Will Howth still out after that injury he sustained at round 6 at Clandau in race 2. And, Matt Birkin and Josh Birkin capitalised on that massively, and now the brothers are now both within championship contention. But we heard some whispers from the paddock earlier that they don't want to win this championship through an injury. Obviously great sportsmanship on display there from the pair of them. They may race each other hard and push the envelope out on track, but they are a great bunch of guys, as are all the senior mini motos, a really good bunch of guys. But there was rumours that they might actually race without transponders, which as per the rulebook is an immediate disqualification post-race. So they'll be out there proving their worth, and if they do elect to go ahead with that, I guess we'll find out. I'm not sure why you'd elect to go ahead with that, to be honest, because that's just you racing for absolutely nothing, pride more than anything. But if they do, that would essentially hand Will Howth the championship, because those two are the only other riders still in championship contention, which would be an amazing display of sportsmanship from the Birkin boys. But they've currently got the transponders on the bikes, because Josh Birkin's just gone fastest to 52.332 for the number 2 rider. But it's the senior mini motos. Being on pole position, especially the trackers now at this, it doesn't really mean anything, because chaos will ensue the second you hit turn 1, as it always does. And it's a super close field. I mean, you were talking to them yesterday, Lewis, and they all just turned around and said, yeah, Richard Holmes-Williams going to win this one.
Yeah, they were so confident. Every single rider really that I spoke to in the senior mini motos thought Richard Holmes-Williams was going to get that win, going to be so dominant this weekend. Even the Birkins, and we know how confident they are of their ability, and even the brothers' ability. But yeah, it's going to be a great championship fight no matter what happens, to be honest. The Birkins will put on a show with or without a transponder. But now these guys are heading round with just 6 minutes to go in this qualifying 2 session. And of course, as we mentioned, the qualifying 1 and the qualifying 2 results do get merged. So in the qualifying 1 results for the senior mini motos, and there's a rider actually stopped at the side of the track, so we'll wait to see if we can identify him. But in qualifying 1, it was Josh Birkins who was fastest from his brother Matt. So it was a Birkin 1-2 with Richard Holmes-Williams in 3rd. Craig Asher was 4th and Nick Bennett was 5th. Our fastest time in that session was a 49.754. This time around in qualifying 2, we're around 3/10 off that at the moment. But of course, the session has long to go. 5.5 minutes left in this qualifying 2 session, and all is to play for.
It could be that the track temperatures perhaps drop slightly. It's not as warm as it was when qualifying 1 was out. There's been a little bit of cloud cover come over, a little bit of wind picking up as well, and it's just little things like that can affect the performance of the bike and how quick the track is. Even things such as the atmospheric pressure can create differences in lap time. But it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to end up on pole position. That being said, Holmes-Williams a 49.565 on his last lap. That is a huge lap. 6.5 tenths faster than anyone else in this session. 4 tenths faster than anyone else in the first quali session. We've got another rider encountering issues there. A few reliability issues already. Haven't even got racing yet. We know the mini motos are temperamental at the best of times, but it's never great to see it when one conks out. But with 4 minutes and 20 seconds left to go on the clock as Richard Holmes-Williams, another huge lap. Matt Birkin said a 49.4 to go to pole briefly. Holmes-Williams a 49 dead. He is absolutely flying at the moment.
Yeah, he certainly is. Maybe just that qualifying one was getting a banker lap time in, and now he is going for it. He has given it absolutely everything. It's so impressive to see, and it's so great to see that even though the Birkins thought that they have no chance this weekend, they're still pushing the hardest and they're still trying their best because they know there's a chance and there's a championship on the line. But these guys now are coming round with just 3.5 minutes left in this session. Craig Ashall now is under pressure from Richard Holmes-Williams in this qualifying session, maybe just helping each other around, giving each other a tow, and yeah, it's really going to be a test of what can the Birkins do now. Can they find that 0.3 of a second to be able to get on pole position? It's going to be tough around this circuit.
It certainly is. I mean, you can see even in qualifying, just trying to get through the slower traffic is a real pain for these riders. There's just nowhere to get through, especially in that opening sector. You've just kind of got to force a gap more than anything, and it is very, very tough indeed. But I'm afraid for anyone who doesn't have the best qualifying, they're going to have to try and make it work the best they can, because again, where you qualify in FAB-Racing, that is where you start from in all 3 races, which is not ideal. As it looks like Jerome Richards having problems. Looks like something has actually fallen off the bike there. He's holding on to something. The 2 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock. And it looks like a bit of fairings almost come off or something like that. Yeah, it looks like the front fairing maybe coming off. I'm not too sure, but I'm sure that's not too difficult of a repair job. Again, these guys got a little bit of time before their race 1s later, and of course the race 2s and race 3s, the final races of the season, all to look forward to tomorrow. Conditions looking to be nice and sunny as well, so we can end on a high note. But you know, this Senior Mini Rotos Championship, as we've been saying, Lewis, is still wide open. There is still so much opportunity. Are the Birkins going to honour their word and race without transponders, or are they going to go for it? Are they going to try and steal the championship from Will Howard after his injury? And then in which case, you know, who comes out on top between the pair of them? They're both rapid riders. Who's got the better of each other here?
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and find out, because it's going to be so intense. Josh Birkin now coming for your picture on the number 2, fighting the championship with his brother for this round. And currently it's Matt who is the upper hand on Josh in this qualifying session. The timesheets have taken a slight rest at the moment. I think it's fair to say these guys maybe just waiting for one final push and one final lap and one final full attack, which is really what you want to do in qualifying. Maybe just have one lap on, one lap off, really just to cool everything down, rest your mind almost, and then just go for it, go full attack. But Richard Holmes-Williams, he knows how to do it. His last lap for multiple laps in a row has been mid-49s, which is great pace. It's consistently great pace, and it's so impressive to see. But Rhys Gentry in 4th position at the moment as well on the number 100 is a pretty good qualifying result from him. I think it's fair to say. Rhys, of course, has always been up there. We've known that he's been up there almost all season now, but 1 minute left in this qualifying 2 session. Can anyone match Richard Holmes-Williams with a 49.062? It's so impressive and so quick. Matt Birkin, the closest competitor to him, 0.3 off, and now Josh getting past Shannon King in this qualifying session, trying to find some open track. Can this help Shannon King? Because Shannon King is currently down 16th position. She definitely would want to be higher than that. Can she get a tow as Rhys Gentry now hitting some traffic maybe there from the number 85 Chris Yeoman? So Rhys Gentry trying to get past him, and he has. It's just trying to find that point of the track where you can have 2 lines into the corner and using the better drive to get past it. A lot of the corners on this track can be 1 line, especially for turn 1 here. But Josh is going to have to make it work on this final lap. 9 seconds to go in this qualifying 2 session at the final round of the championship. This is the final qualifying session for these boys and girls for the whole year. Matt Birkin now really going to have to push. Rhys Gentry is really pushing towards the line. He comes down full tucks every single part of his body in, and he stays 4th. Checker flag flying through the air now. Richard Holmes-Williams still on top. We're waiting to see what is going to happen. There's a rider there, Josh Birkin, trying his hardest, pushing his hardest on that number 2. More traffic though, so will this affect his lap? Will they get in his way, or will will he not catch up to them in time, because there's not too much left this lap. They come round now to the start-finish straight. Can he get any sort of slipstream? No, he cannot, and Josh Birkin stays in third place, but contact past the checker flag. So Josh Birkin, pretty good qualifying session from him, a 49.8 personal best, as Matt Birkin gets a 49.3 in his final lap, a personal best, 2 tenths off, but not enough to nab that pole position. But interestingly, Josh Birkin, who topped Q1, he actually didn't better his lap time in this qualifying 2 session, but the track is actually looking faster for the likes of Holmes Williams.
Just goes to show how, the format of qualifying and FAB Racing can just create some of those crazy scenarios. You can be, the fastest in qualifying 1 and then end up starting worse off as a result, despite setting a quicker lap time in qualifying 2. Get your head around that one, but that is it for the Senior Mini Motos. They will be back out, of course, later with their opening race of the weekend. Hello and welcome if you are just joining us for the FAB Racing finale here at Red Lodge, the final round of the FAB Racing Mini Bike British Championship season, and it is a real pleasure to be bringing you all of the action on the Motorsport Radio and FAB Racing social media channels all across the interwebs, and we are set and ready for a fantastic weekend's worth of racing with a few championships still to be wrapped up. This is one that's already been wrapped up, and well, who else would it be? Mick Williams last time out taking the Mini F1 Sidecars title. To be fair, this is the closest challenge he's had in quite some time from the number 90 sidecar of the Green Streets, but once again, Mick Williams on top of the Mini F1 sidecar world in the British Isles. But still a strong turnout here for the sidecars, which is always great to see. We know they like a bit of argy-bargy. We know they like to put on a display, to put it politely. So I think the anticipation's high for this one, so we'll have to wait and see as they get ready to head out for their qualifying session. But if you're just tuning in, if you're your first time watching FAB Racing perhaps, well, you've missed a fantastic season for starters. But well, let me give you a bit of backstory. FAB Racing, we are the official partner series to the Bennett's British Superbike Championship and have been awarded the Road to MotoGP accolade by Dorna and are recognised as the gateway into the British Talent Cup. Since 2019, over 60% of the British Talent Cup grid have all graduated from FAB Racing. Been around since 2004 and has provided the perfect opportunity for young riders to gain experience and insight into motorcycle racing. And all riders are looking to be the next big star, even those such as the Mini F1 sidecars, perhaps the older persuasion within the paddock. I'm not saying they're old, I'm just saying they're older than the junior riders. And we've had some fantastic riders. We've had some fantastic riders this year. We've had fantastic riders in the past. We've got people like Scott Redding, Scott Ogden, Danny Kent. They've all made their way up to MotoGP. We've had riders in WSBK. We've got countless riders in the BSB and supporting classes. This year in Red Bull Rookies Cup, we've had Casey O'Gorman and Eddie O'Shea, both of them graduated from FAB Racing. We've had Johnny Garness around as well. He's been doing 1,000,001 different things, it would seem. And it's a fantastic series. And of course, if you want to get involved, you can't get involved anymore this year, unfortunately. If you want to get involved in 2023, please do head over to the FAB Racing website. If you want to get involved, or you want your child to maybe give it a go and they show some interest, head over to the FAB Racing website. There is all the information you need to know, and we are forever growing and forever accepting community, and we'd love to have you along.
Yeah, we certainly are forever growing, because we've seen grid numbers this year have been excellent, especially in the younger categories, in the likes of the rookies. It's been so strong, as it looks like one of the sidecars heading back into the pit lane. Something that we see quite a lot from the sidecars in these qualifying sessions is that they'll do maybe 2 or 3 laps, come into the pit lane and just take a rest and take a breather, maybe even have a little talk or change something with the setup of the sidecar. We see it quite a lot, and the only people we don't really see it from that much is the Green Streets. They like to stay out there and they like to put the laps in, which, especially if the track or the weather changes dramatically during the session, it's the way to go, just staying out there, getting them laps in and getting the experience in on the track, because the more laps you do, the better you're going to do it. That's fact. And Mick Williams, they just seem to have a special talent all year. Their fastest lap time, a 37.1 in this qualifying 2 session. They lead the way by 1.3 seconds with just 5.5 minutes to go in the final qualifying session of the year. Mick Williams, so strong, like usual, and it's something that it's not unusual to say, but he's had a lot of challenges this year. He's had to change passengers countless times, so it's so impressive, even with that he's managed to put in these amazing results.
Yeah, it's been Well, by Mick Williams' standards, I think he'd say it's a poor year, to be brutally honest. By anyone else's standards, it's been an absolute masterclass. And, again, you raise that point of he's having to change passengers every now and again, and that is something that is so integral to the sidecar, is the riders' trust in their passenger and their knowledge of the passenger and where the passenger's going to be. And as I'm saying that, the 369 of Vince Bailey up on 2 wheels coming through the final corner and onto the rumble strips. That was a pretty scary moment for them, I'm sure. Wow, good save that, to put it mildly. But as I was saying, Mick Williams, he's just been dominant this year once again. Although he hasn't won every round for the first time in a long time, he's still been on top of the Mini F1 sidecar world. Of course, one thing to note, so as you can see here with the Mini F1 sidecars and a lot of the bigger bikes be running this, they're cutting out that tight and twisty midfield, kind of mid-section of the track, which massively changes the track. So when you're coming into turns 2 and 3 down at Senna, instead of going left and into that hairpiny section, you just turn right and you're straight onto the back straight. And it's such a different circuit. The average speed is much higher, and then suddenly you've got a huge dive bomb opportunity into the following corner. So on the bigger bikes, the gear bikes, you look at your pit bikes, your mini GPs, your sidecars, they will be running a slightly different configuration. So just to help you wrap your head around that, but it really shouldn't make too much of a difference. We've got just under 4 minutes left to go now in this Mini F1 sidecar qualifying session, and who else? Just Mick Williams, 1.3 seconds up on everybody else.
Yeah, and one person I want to give a shout out to is Jack Andrews, who is actually in this qualifying session right now on Chris Impey's sidecar as a passenger. So it's so great to see these riders who's been racing the pit bike style machines for a couple of years now make that step to sidecars and try something new and try his best in it, because it's such a different form of motorsport and it's almost an art to get it right. And there is Jack Andrews on Chris Impey's sidecar. It's so great to see, and he's doing great actually for his first ever time on a sidecar. He's looking very, very confident as the green streaks now are chasing them. But McWilliams now looks like they've backed out. Maybe a quick trip to the pit lane as there's 3 minutes to go, so there's still time to go into the pit lane and maybe fuel up, change some of their setup, and then go back out there, because it's such a short lap for these guys, as you mentioned, Ross, with them having to cutting out the infield sections. It's just a 35-second lap time really. But McWilliams in Q1 set a 36.464 as their fastest lap time, which in this session they have beaten by about a 10th. So this track is looking like it's evolving, looking like it's getting faster. So the green streaks now have a chance to get in that pole position. Currently 1.2 seconds off, but they can do 36s. They did it in Q1 and they look on it currently as there's just 2.5 minutes left. The green streaks are looking like they're on a charge. They're pushing hard through the long sweeping left. It looks like it goes on forever almost. At the circuit, there's quite a lot of corners that go directly into another corner. It's so technical and so tricky, and really a track you need to have a lot of knowledge on. If you don't have the knowledge and don't have the track memorized, you're going to struggle, and you're going to spend half of your session really just trying to work out what way the track goes. But the green streaks now come across the line and they set their personal best. Just a 1 second gap between Mick Williams in pole position and green streaks. Vince Bailey a further 2.5 seconds back from the green streaks. But one thing that we've seen in the sidecars this year is that towards the end of the session they close up. The time's close up and they start to get faster and faster. Just 1.5 minutes left in this session.
Up on 2 wheels there and there again, so this lap won't be the one. But yeah, you are correct. The green streaks, known for staying out all throughout qualifying. When other sidecars, they like to come in, like to refuel, maybe just tweak, have a little discussion. These guys stay out and they let the sidecar just come to them slowly over the course of the session. So by the end, yeah, they might be suffering from a little bit of fatigue, but the sidecar is absolutely on it. And you can see, apart from the odd wobble here and there, that number 90 looks absolutely planted in the corners. It's just one big sweeping arc through that left-hander. Just look, super smooth from Jason and Leo Greenstreet. A lot cleaner through there. Back wheel picking up once again, though. They want to be avoiding that inside curb because, well, if your back wheel picks up, you've got no drive out of the corner. And if you've got no drive, you're not going anywhere, which isn't ideal. Let's come to the line this time, a much cleaner lap. Is it any faster than their previous? Unfortunately not, but again, still 40 odd seconds to go. They will just about have time for another lap after this one, if this one is good. And it's they're looking solid. It's just little mistakes here and there that the Green Streets need to iron out on this lap that I can see. Just the little things, little inconsistencies. That was a bit better through the left-hander there, taking a much wider line, and there we go, getting the power out of the corner. Perfect from the number 90, coming into the back section now. This awkward section on the faster variant. You go right and then left onto the front stretch. Try not to clip the rumble strips, and then coming back round. It's a 37.3, their personal best, but it is the checkered flag, unfortunately. So the Green Streets will be starting from P2. They will not get an opportunity to close up to the 26 of Mick Williams, who once again from pole position. I mean, to be fair, the Green Streets have taken a pole position before this year, but at the same time, I'm hardly surprised it's Mick Williams on the top step once again.
Yeah, Mick Williams, great qualifying for him. Surprisingly, the Green Streets didn't improve from their Q1 times. Vince Bailey will be in that third place with Mark Parker alongside him. So a great result. And quick mention, Iona Glover is back in the sidecars after a quite hefty crash earlier on in the season. It's great to see her back out there, sitting in 6th place in this qualifying 2 session. So she'll be hoping for a good weekend and a fun weekend on her comeback to FAB. At this final round of the championship, if you're just joining us, this is round 8 here at Red Lodge. It's the final round, and today we're going to have 10 races coming up. But before we get into that, we still have just one more qualifying left, and it's going to be the Q2s for the Pit Bike 140s.
It is indeed, and Rossi Banham, as you can see, front and centre with that golden number 1 on the fairing. He is already champion. He got declared champion around 6. We didn't even notice that he'd even been declared champion because we were a bit busy talking about other things. But he's been so dominant this season. And of course, as with all the other riders, he'll be allowed a championship celebration this weekend. So if he has a shirt, he can put like a special shirt on, he gets a lap of honour, etc, etc. So all of the championship celebrations, even if they've already been wrapped up, have been saved for this weekend, the final round of the season. But you can't mention the 2022 Pit Bike 140 Championship and just not immediately start with Rossi Banham. The man has been superb. And obviously he's made the jump to Junior Superstock this year in BSB, and you can just see, compared to last year, just how much that has enabled him to progress. Just as a general rider, not letting alone as a pit bike actor, I just saw that coming through the final corner, a bit of a wet spot on the racing line, causing a bit of a wobble. So hopefully that gets cleared pretty shortly. But you look at Rossi, you go and stand circuit side and you watch Rossi into some of the tougher corners on the calendar. You're thinking some of the downhill corners at Wilton Moor, for example. He's braking 2-3 metres later than everyone else. He's using the rear brake, he's using the rear of the bike to slow the car down, slow the bike down, pivot him through the corner and then just get the power down. The man has been just insane this season. And well, currently fastest of anyone by a considerable margin. 0.8 of a second is the gap to Lucas Brown, who himself is not a bad rider at all. Rossi Banham looking to end his championship winning season on high. Of course, last time out, we bid farewell to Taylor Lawrence in his final full-time FAB-Racing event before he goes off to join the Navy Air Force. And of course, Taylor, the champion of 2021, a great friend of Rossi's as well, and will be sorely missed within the paddock, and we can't wait for him to hopefully come back if he gets a free weekend every now and again, and we wish him all the best with his future in the Navy. But now only Banham remains out of those two, and he is looking to make this championship his own. He's already taken the title, and I'm sure he would love to end the season with a clean sweep.
Yeah, he certainly would. He's going to be wanting to do it in his normal fashion, that is by dominating the races. But we've seen quite a few times this year, the Pit Bike 140s, it's been so close up the front. It's been so great to see so many riders taking part in this series. Currently on track, we have 23 riders set a lap times, which is so great to see. It's such a busy track for these guys in qualifying, but now coming on to finish straight to start their laps, it's really now where they have to start building in and improving their lap times, because in Q1 they were doing mid 46s. Currently they're about 4 tenths off their Q1 times, so still quite a bit to improve. But Rossi Banham, motocross style, running that number 1 plate. It's so great to see a number 1 plate on the bike already in gold. It just looks great. But Lucas Brown, he is quite a little bit back from Rossi Banham right now, but it might just be close enough to be able to get that marker, and that's just something to chase, because it's quite difficult sometimes to be able to do these lap times with nothing in front of you. But Rossi Banham, that's what he loves, and that's what he has had to get used to this year in FAB, because it's just been so quick. It's been so impressive, and his riding style is something else. It's so quick and it's so impressive to see how close to the ground he gets on these small skinny tyres they have on the pit bike 140s.
Yeah, it's obviously been a bit of a weird year for Rossi, because 9 races out of 10 he just disappears off into the distance and has no competition. And when he does get into a fight, you can tell he's just absolutely loving and relishing every single second of it, because he knows it's going to be a while until he has another one. And I mean, you know, when you take into account that we've had 71 riders in the Pit Bikes 140 this year, it's the most popular class that we have here at FAB-Racing, and he's just off there outrunning everyone. It just puts into perspective how quick he is. Being held up here by some traffic, so he's gonna have to back off, but it's all right, because there's still just under 4 minutes left to go in this final qualifying session of the weekend, so plenty of time for Rossi to go and improve. But you know, he's just been phenomenal this year. I mean, we've had a few riders who've had, you know, fantastic seasons or up and down seasons. You know, Jamie King comes to mind. You know, after, you know, getting on that new CW motor halfway through the season, after leaving the Simoto factory ride that he had, you can tell immediately he just really started to improve, and he's still getting used to that new bike. But he's, you know, already the results starting to pick up for the 3-time pit bike champion. And well, you know, there's just been so many. It's such a strong field. There's so many likeable characters in this paddock. I mean, of course, there's so many likeable characters in all of FAB-Racing's paddock. You know, it's a real family community here, and everyone gets on so well. But again, each class kind of has its own little sub-community, and everyone in the pit bikes is, you know, they're just a great laugh. You know, you can sit down, you can have a chat with them about anything you want, you feel like. And then they go out there and they do this, you know, weekend after weekend, and it's just absolutely amazing. There we see Reese Peacock, the number 29, who currently fighting for second in the championship, leading Lucas Brown by just 1 point heading into this weekend. So the battle for the vice championship still up and running, and currently Lucas Brown will be going off ahead of Reese Peacock. Well, with 1 point's difference, it's going to be very close come the end of the weekend anyway. But well, if they want that vice championship desperately, that's a starting off advantage Brown.
Yeah, right now though, I noticed that Rossi Banham dropped back to let Lucas Brown in front of him. Lucas Brown on that number 7 there, getting past the 150 and getting past traffic very, very cleanly and very quick. That's all he has to do in this session. There's 2 minutes left, so he has just a couple of laps to try and nab this pole position off Rossi Banham. In Q1, the time to beat is at 46.5. Currently in this session it's 46.9, so 4 tenths off at the moment. These pit bike from 140 guys maybe just struggling a little bit with traffic and the track conditions, as Rossi Banham getting through some of the traffic there, and you can just see the difference in speed going round the outside. He's waiting, he's using his head. That's what I love about Rossi Banham. He's such a smart rider. He waits for the perfect opportunity to pounce and get past them safely. But Lucas Brown coming out the final corner now, powering out, having a small moment there on the curb. The curb's still looking a bit slippery from the rain that we had overnight, because we woke up this morning and the track was still half and half wet and half dry, and Lucas Brown having another moment there as he's trying to get past some of the traffic. But Rossi Banham, you just know he is giving it everything. He is pushing as hard as he can, but he looks so relaxed. He looks like he's got no pressure at all. He's going around there, throwing the bike into the corners. He's going where he wants, and he has that moment there on the front end, coming out of the corner towards the long left-hander. Will he get held up by the traffic? It looks like he will. He goes round the outside of them though. That's so impressive to see from the youngster racing in the junior super stock category in British Superbikes at the moment. He's had a great season there, a massive learning curve for him, going on to 600. But Lucas Brown comes across line to go on to what will be his last flying lap, his last opportunity to get pole position from Rossi Banham, to get the last pole position of the year here at FAB. Lucas Brown is pushing on, he's giving it everything. He's going centimetres away from the walls as he tips in to these turns. It's such a tight track, but it's such a great track to come watch at. It's just art form, watching these riders tip into the corners and watch their lines around it. It's just pinpoint precision. You can just see Lucas Brown coming through the flip-flop, powering it out. Some of these riders like to go in the small bit of tarmac that we have on the outside of the track, but Lucas Brown now in the final sector of the track. Can he improve on his time? He comes round, takes a checker flag, and he goes top. Lucas Brown nabs pole position from Rossi Banham on the final lap. Even if we combine the sessions, he still takes the pole position. Lucas Brown, a great lap with a 46.450. That is just half a tenth faster than Rossi Banham in Q1. So great end to the qualifying session there.
Wow. Look at the gap. It's 8 thousandths of a second, give or take. Yeah, it was about 38 hundredths rather, should I say. But Rossi Banham just missing out by millimetres on the pole position. Wow, what an effort from Lucas Brown. That was a real, last-ditch attempt, Senna-esque lap from absolute nowhere. Just absolutely full throttle and send it. Awesome stuff. That is it for qualifying for the FAB-Racing finale of 2022. No more qualifying sessions left this year, but of course we've still got 3 races in each of the categories to look forward to. And these pit bike guys, they'll be back out there later for their race 1 and their race 2s and 3s tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned to see what's going to happen in those. Can Lucas Brown hold on from his pole position, or is Rossi Banham seeking vengeance, seeking justice, and can he take the victory in a year which he has absolutely dominated? We will have to wait and see. So, as we wait, we can see some of the crowds watching along. Always a strong crowd here at FAB-Racing. We just wait for the final checks and balances to be made before we get ready to go racing. Hello and welcome to round 8 of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship, and we are about to get underway with the first race of the weekend in the final round of the season. It's time for the AC40 Pros. And although the championship has already been wrapped up, there's still plenty of great racing to be had, plenty of points to be picked up as well. And it's a tough circuit for these young riders out there. We're going to have to see how they fare.
Yeah, we are, and it's going to be a close race. We've seen the AC40 Pros all year. It's been a great class to watch, and it's been some master classes from Byron Johnson, the championship winner. So Byron Johnson, number 37, quite a multicolour bike to say the least. He's just shown his class this year, but he's been put under pressure from the likes of Sam Gardner on that 56, and there's Byron Johnson just pulling up, thumbs up to Lewis Hull, and these guys are great friends off the track. But on track, you're going to see some ruthless racing from these youngsters. It's so impressive to see these guys on track at such a young age. Byron Johnson looks very relaxed, to say the least. William, while staying still. So Byron Johnson, relaxed, ready to fight as the parents wait for these guys to come onto the grid. But this season it's been a great year. It's great to see, in my opinion, the most important factor is just how much Byron Johnson has progressed. Every single round you just see his confidence growing. It's great to see all these riders really just pushing on and be able to improve every single round. We've also seen the likes of Matthew Thomas be able to compete up front and right in the mix for the race win.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the pros class is kind of the first step into, starting to, sort the wheat from the chaff here at FAB-Racing. You've got the Rookies Cup, which is, where you make your start on motorcycle racing. It's where you learn your fundamentals, you get that experience on the bike and on the tracks as the riders make their way out onto the grid. But this is where, you really need to start to progress. You really need to start showing what you're worth. And Byron Johnson, despite the apparent domination, has been superb at that. I think a real highlight for me has just been seeing Harrison Day here every single round. Of course, Harrison, son of a BSB rider, Josh Day, they had an interesting period of time, did the Day family, earlier on in the season when Harrison had a big accident, and then a few weeks later Josh had a big accident at BSB and wound up in a coma. Well, we laugh and joke about it now, but it was quite scary at the time. But so to see them all here, it's absolutely fantastic as always. But there is the grid as they get ready to pull away. And it will be Matthew Thomas going from the pole position with Sam Gardner in P2, the vice champion of 2022, and the champion of 2022 goes from behind him. Byron Johnson starts third with Lewis Hull in P4. Jensen Bishop is fifth with Ollie O'Gorman, brother of Casey O'Gorman, in P6. Row 4 of the grid is made up by Dylan Tureen and Bradley Curtis, with George Ackerman and Lucy Curtis rounding out the top 10. Annabelle McCarthy is in P11 with Rex Austin 12th, and Callum Maxwell, the 13th and final rider that we have on the grid here for race 1 of the AC40 Pros. And well, of course, just the one race today, so there's maybe tension's a little bit high coming into this one. A few championship points a little bit lower down the order, still up for grabs. And of course, it's time on the bike for these young riders, which is, the most important thing out of all of it. And well, I think some excitement in the air. It's the final race of the season. You want to end your season on a high. You want to end the season on a good result.
Yeah, you certainly do. It's where you want to leave your mark for next year. These guys will be moving up. Quite a few guys will be moving up. The likes of Byron Johnson will be going to the 50s, and also another year on the elites. And also alongside him, well, joining him, is going to be Sam Gardner. You will see them guys later on in the 50s. But Lee Klaus at the front, start marshal, is waiting for these guys to go, and then we can get underway for race 1 in the AC40 Pros. No lights here. We wait for the hands to go down, and then we can get underway, and we will wait for the flag to drop from the start marshal. And now we go racing, and Sam Gardner gets an excellent start and sweeps his way through turn 1 and takes the race lead. Byron Johnson managing to get into second position. Ollie O'Gorman getting an initial good start, but getting overtaken by Lewis Hull coming around the first corner, and now it's a clean start for these guys. But Byron Johnson looks a bit timid tipping into the right-hander, and now he has Matthew Thomas on his tail. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4 in this front pack, so nothing separating these guys on this first lap. Sam Gardner still leads in the way. Championship positions are decided for these guys, so now they can just go full attack as Lewis Hull manages to get into that third position place and pass Matthew Thomas, as he now sets his sights on the championship winner, Byron Johnson, who looks up the inside of Sam Gardner, and very close to making contact there. Sam Gardner, he just tipped in. He didn't see him at all there, I don't think, so nothing there. There's a bump going into turn 1 though for these guys as Byron Johnson gets up past Sam Gardner into turn 2 and into the race lead.
Wow, superb move by Byron Johnson. Super late on the brakes and sending it up the inside. That is how it's done. So quite an unusual position there for Byron Johnson to be actually battling in a pack after the opening lap, but he's got back to where he probably feels like he belongs in the lead of the race, but it's not going to be easy for him. He hasn't shaken Sam Gardner with Matthew Thomas and Lewis Hull still alongside them. There's Matthew Thomas having a bit of a look to the inside of Sam Gardner, but unable to make a gap appear. It's quite a risky place to try and push to the inside, coming through that right-hander down at the S's. It's just a very tricky section of track. You don't want to compromise your entry into the right, but some of the riders elected to do so anyway. Anything for an overtake, I suppose. And with 7 laps left to go, it is still champion Byron Johnson who leads from vice-champion Sam Gardner, with Matthew Thomas in P3 and Lewis Hull in P4. Quite ironically, they're in the positions on track right now where they're finishing in the championship, because all these guys are locked into position. So great to see that. But it's look, this is the closest we've seen these guys all year. This is brilliant stuff here. Usually Byron goes off into the distance, or Matthew goes with Byron, or one of them will go with Byron. All 4 of them are there this time. This is brilliant stuff.
Yeah, it's almost looking like a Moto3 race, to be honest. It's so impressive. Matthew Thomas in the background there, looking like he wants to try and just push that extra bit and just push the bike to the limit. You can just see it's making all shapes and sorts, but Sam Gardner is putting pressure on Byron Johnson. He's having looked at loads of corners now. He's trying different lines, trying to carry a bit more corner speed, but Matthew Thomas looks like he got a good drive there, and it looks like, no, he cannot get past. Even on these bikes, it's still so tight, but Matthew Thomas, using his drive, gets up the inside on the right. Ken, what a move that was from the youngster, as Matthew Thomas now sets his sights on a race leader. Sam Gardner is further back now. It looks like he just got a slight gap as Lewis Hull is trying to get that straight line deficit and trying to make it all up on the corners. He's pushing so hard as he's so tall for that motorcycle, but Matthew Thomas is properly on the back of Byron Johnson now, and Byron Johnson is going to have to start thinking about defending pretty soon.
He is indeed. Matthew Thomas has been absolutely flying the last 2 laps, and on that note, sets a new fastest lap of 49.656. Absolutely ludicrous pace from Matthew Thomas, and I believe it's a little way off the lap record, but it's not far off it, so getting closer to say the least. And these two now starting to break away from Gardner and Hull. I think Byron may be turning up the wick. Now he knows he's under pressure from the 128 of Matthew Thomas, who's obviously become a bit of a TikTok star actually over the past few weeks. A video of him crashing went sort of semi-viral, which, I mean, that's one way to go viral, just show a pic of you high-siding, but let's hope he doesn't high-side here, and let's see if he can try and squeeze away past the champion Byron Johnson. Unable to do so at the moment, but now these two engaged in battle. Byron Johnson responds with the fastest lap, immediately snatched back by Thomas. They're trading blows every corner, every lap, every twist and turn of this Red Lodge circuit. The pendulum swings one way then the other in a titanic battle for the lead of race 1 in the AC40 Pros in the final round of the season. Byron Johnson holding on for the moment. This is the closest that Matthew Thomas has been all race long. He's going to have to settle for the outside. He decides to back out of that move. Probably the sensible thing to do. It's better to back out and concede and maintain onto the back of the rider in front than to go for it and lose a place as Byron Johnson goes deep into the left-hander and almost comes under attack there once again from Matthew Thomas, who just seems to be really enjoying this circuit. I mean, obviously Byron Johnson clearly having a great time as well. He's leading the race, but Matthew Thomas just seems really honed in at the moment. The bike and him just really gelling. He's clearly loving the track. He's clearly having a great race. And well, let's see if he can try and poke a nose somewhere.
Yeah, it looks like Matthew Thomas has that bike hooked up and doing everything that he wants it to. Maybe it's just the sprocket he's got and is giving Byron Johnson a slightly disadvantage and letting them bog down, because Matthew Thomas coming out the corners looks so fast on that initial drive. Maybe he's just keeping it in the power band a bit better, but whatever the case, Matthew Thomas is on it, carrying more corner speed through there as well, and you can just see the drive coming out this corner. Let's see if it's better, and yeah, you can just see it punches through the air far better than Byron Johnson's bike at the moment. So Byron Johnson, he's really having to defend him, really having to push. You can just see how wide he's trying to make himself through the corners so he has no gap for Matthew Thomas on the 128. Of course though, Sam Gardner and Lewis Hull are just behind these two, so if these guys start fighting, I can guarantee you it is going to go down. It's going to be a 4-bike battle for the race lead. It's still possible with just 2 laps to go. This race has been more like a Moto3 race than a mini motor race. It's incredible stuff.
It is absolutely. Someone down there coming onto the back straight. Hopefully everyone is okay. There is a marshal with them. But we go back to the lead battle and it looks like the red flag has come out. So race halted with 2 laps left to go. So the red flag has been waved. This race, the session, is to be stopped immediately. The riders are to come and stop at the nearest marshal post, although given it is so close to the end of the race, they may have been told just to head straight back to the pit lane, which seems to be the case. And I fear that may be race done and dusted, because we were so close to the end there. It's great to see the rider up on their feet and all okay. Yeah, we were so close to the end of the race here. I think that might be it. I think Byron Johnson will probably get declared race 1 winner there.
Yeah, it looks like it, but Zach Tureen is over at Dylan, checking that he's alright. Thumbs up in the air from them, so it's great to see that he's okay. It's great to see that he is on his feet, but yeah, I think it will be called a result. 2 laps to go, and a hug from Zach to Dylan, checking he's alright. Stuff happens, it is racing, accidents happen, and
he's not a happy boy.
Dylan, emotions running high in this race, adrenaline still flowing through his body. But what a great race we had there in race 1.
I mean, it just goes to show how tough it is for these young riders. I mean, you know, some of these guys are as young as 6 years old in the pro class, and it means so much to them. But it is really tough, and it's you know, emotions clearly running high, but it's been, you know, respectable nonetheless, and that is a great display. I mean, obviously it's a shame to see him, you know, in tears and obviously not happy, but it's just a great way to display the emotion, a great way to display just how much FAB-Racing means to all of these young riders.
Yeah, it certainly does. But now just waiting for this red flag period to end, and then we can get underway for our next races, because there's just 2 laps left in that. But of course we're still waiting for official confirmation on that. But now joining me in the commentary box is Ethan Sparks. So Ethan, you're not on the bike this weekend, but how are you finding this weekend?
Well, I've got a wild card this weekend, next weekend actually, for Moto 4. But I did just come to watch to see Henry and Ronnie and my teammates to see what they can do this weekend. But I'm not riding because I don't want to lose the front or crash or injure myself.
So now these guys are just coming back to the pit lane, but Ethan, as you were saying, you just don't want to hurt yourself, don't want to risk anything.
Yeah, because the Moto 4 wildcard is a big achievement for a lot of people because it's hard to get, and it's more important than the Moto for FAB, because I've already won the championship, and if I do end up crashing, then I've wasted the opportunity.
Yes, certainly. We all hope here at FAB that you're going to do good in that Moto 4 wildcard, but I'm sure you will. You're so talented. But let's have a little touch on this season while we wait for this red flag to be finished. It shouldn't be too long now, but how have you found this year on the Metrokit bike once again?
So last year I found it really, really difficult because I had Mason and Philip challenging for me, and it came right down to the wire. This season it's been difficult, obviously, with Henry and Marco, but I found last year it was the hardest championship I've ever done. But this year Henry and Marco and Blake and Luke have gave me a run for my money.
Well, it is time for race 1 for the Premier class here at FAB. It is going to be the LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 British Championship. It's our first race of the weekend. It is the final round. The championship is already wrapped up, and joining me in the commentary box is Ethan Sparks, this year's champion. So Ethan, what are you expecting to see in this race 1?
I reckon Luke, Wilson and Henry are going to do quite well. I feel like they're going to pull away as they've just got the upper pace. I think if Archie gets a good start, he might be able to tag along with them. But I think Henry and Wilson and Luke will probably run away with this.
But we're going to have to wait and find out. The riders now are waiting on the grid before we head off on the warm-up lap. Luke Fitchett is looking ready to race. All these riders are looking ready to battle. Luke Fitchett will be started off in pole position as Henry McCartney alongside them, his championship rival for the year. Wilson Dilks will be starting in third, with Archie O'Brien starting in fourth place. Ronnie Harris, Ethan Sparks' teammate, will be starting in fifth, with Blake Wilson alongside him. And in a short but sweet field, just 7 riders, Harry Payne will be starting 7th place in the final position on the grid. But just quickly, Ethan, it's race 1. Track conditions are nice and sunny for these guys. Is it, as you were saying, you're expecting to see almost a runaway race, but do you think this is going to go down to the last lap?
I know Wilson a lot because I rid with him in the B&B Championship one time for practice, and he's quite good at overtaking and on the brakes. And I know Henry's really good at overtaking from Landau, and same with Luke. He's just quick. He's got everything.
Yeah, Luke Fitchett, he's been looking quick this year in the 70s and the 50s, but these riders now waiting for the checker flag to drop, and then we can go racing for these guys for the race 1. We wait for the flag drops, and what a start that was there from Luke Fitchett. But Archie O'Brien having a massive moment, the front wheel rising. But we're from turn 1, it's going to be Henry McCartney from Luke Fitchett, and in third place it's going to be Wilson Dilks. So Wilson Dilks, a great start and a great showing to be in third place. And now we wait for these guys to come around. Henry McCartney leads the way. So Henry McCartney from lap 1, do you think he's just going to go all out?
Yeah, I know Henry, he really wants to get away in this race and try win. But Luke's already right behind him, and I think he's going to make a move soon.
Yeah, it looks like Luke Fitchett now has closed in on that gap, but Wilson Dilks is just behind these 2 riders. As you mentioned, Ethan, he's so good on the brakes. So what will happen? What will come into play later on this race as Luke Fitchett has a little look diving up the inside for turn 1, but he cannot make it work. It's too tight. Henry McCartney shuts the door, but it looks like it's going to turn to quite a train race here actually right now, at least in the first couple of laps. But we're going to have to wait and see what is going to happen as Luke Fitchett looks like he's lost some of the drive here. So what is this track like for these 70 riders?
It's a really difficult track that your left leg starts at 8 towards the end, as this long left while they're going round now. You're always right over, changing down the gears, and it strains your leg a bit. But I just noticed that Henry's going defensive to try to shut the door on Luke.
Yeah, it looks like there. Luke Fitchett also having a slight moment, maybe something to back out of it from that defensive manoeuvre that Henry McCartney was doing, as Henry McCartney briefly sets the fastest lap of the race as Archie O'Brien takes it straight off him with a 45.1. Archie O'Brien in 5th place after a terrible start. So Archie O'Brien making possessions of him has caught on to this group, and really now it's looking like it's going to be a 5-bike battle for the lead with 9 laps to go. We're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen, because it looks like Henry McCartney, he cannot get away right now.
Yeah, I know. It's easier to follow people than to get followed, but Archie's has struggled on the start there, but now he's following everyone else and he's already got the fastest lap of the race, which could make him overtake Blake and try tag onto the front 3.
Yeah, right now Archie O'Brien having a little look up the inside of Blake Wilson, but he cannot make anything work. Archie O'Brien has such an impressive year, racing not only in the 70s but in the 50s, battling for the championship in the final round that is yet to come later on today. But up front it is still Henry McCartney who leads the way, who really wants another dry victory, because we've seen all year how strong Henry McCartney's been in the wet conditions.
Yeah, I know. Henry at Clay Pigeon, he was just, that's a little moment
Luke
there for
Fitchett,
Luke.
yeah, going wide, and it looks like he's missed the gear, got on the power band, and he's dropped all the way down to 5th position, so not what he would be wanting there.
Yeah, I think he's going to maybe push a bit too hard and needs to keep his head here, because he's still got 8 laps to go, and if he pushes too hard he might make another mistake and lose out completely.
Well, now we have unknown territory as Wilson Dilts is just behind Henry McCartney. Henry McCartney may not be expecting this before this race, and now he may not know how to defend from him. We're going to have to wait and find out. The number 31 is against the number 85, who has the fastest lap of the race. A 44.8 is the fastest lap of the race, and he's just destroyed the lap record set by Ethan Sparks, set by you, Ethan, last year with a 45 flat. So 2/10 faster is Wilson Dilts, so that's a new lap record in the Mini GP 70s from Wilson Dilts.
Yeah, that's a really quick time, and I know they're really up to pace this weekend, but my lap time last year, the Mitas tyres that were run were like not as good as the PMTs, but I know Wilson done that by skill, and with following Henry he's going to get even quicker throughout the race.
Yeah, so Wilson Dilts came over here to FAB, and it looks like he's straight on the pace and straight on the money as he tries to take the race win for race 1, but he still has Henry McCartney in his way for trying to make that a reality. But Blake Wilson, he's still in that 3rd place. He's just sitting there, maybe just watching these front 2 until later on in the race. It's been quite an impressive season from Blake Wilson.
Yeah, Blake's been doing really well. Last race at Rowra he was behind me and got 2nd, but I think like what you said, he's going to follow these 2 leaders and maybe try keep behind them, look what they're doing, but he's going to have to make a move soon because he's only got 5 laps to go.
Yeah, Wilson Dilts has now just taken the lead of the race going into turn 1 from Henry McCartney. So what can Henry McCartney do to take the race lead back? 5 laps to go in this race. It's Wilson Dilts who leads the way from Henry McCartney, and Blake Wilson sitting in that 3rd place with Archie O'Brien just behind him. It's a 6-bike train right now in this Mini GP 70. It's a little gap back from Luke Fitchett. Luke Fitchett, though, I am sure he'll be able to bridge that. So Ethan, if you were in this situation right now, what would you be doing if you were in this train?
So if I was in this train, maybe if I was leading, I'll push to get away here, but if I was in 3rd, 2nd or 4th, I would just follow these guys, but I would try and make a move soon because I know how difficult it is to pass here. But if they are getting away, I'm going to need to start pulling. So see Blake Wilson there, Henry and Wilson are pulling away, so if I was Blake now I would have made a move a lot earlier.
Yeah, now Wilson Dilks has just set another lap record of 44.4 this time around. So Wilson Dilks is on the pace and is putting in some incredible lap times, another 4 tenths away from that lap record he broke just 1 lap previous. But up front is him, and he's doing something that I didn't think was going to be possible in race 1 at least, because it's his first time here on the 70s, so you wouldn't expect him to be up front and right on the money straight away.
Yeah, but I know he's been riding in Spain a lot on the Metro Kit, because I was with him there for a lot of the time, and he was sticking with me for a lot, which surprised me. But a 44.4 is a very, very good time.
Yeah, not only that, but Henry McCartney's set a 44.5, just 1 tenth off Wilson Dilks. So these two up front is doing some incredible times and is running some incredible pace right now. But Archie O'Brien, he's still in that 4th place. Do you think Archie now needs to really just make that move, or should he just stick behind the markers? Archie O'Brien actually has just got past Blake Wilson. So now, it looks like Blake Wilson's got back in front. So Archie O'Brien, what would you be doing in his position? Would you now really be trying to force a move?
If I was Archie now, I would have done the move already and if the front two, I think they've got it now, but I would have gone past Blake and tried to keep that 3rd position from him, and maybe on the last lap gone quite defensive to stop him from going underneath.
Yeah, and there's your race leader, and there's Henry McCartney just behind him. Henry McCartney, though, he's looked so strong this season. You've seen some great battles with you, Ethan. So, Ethan, what is it like to race with?
Henry, he's really good, like out the corners and round them. But his braking, my braking's my advantage, as I brake really late. But he's got good aggression. He rides like a Moto3 rider, diving up the inside all the time, and he's got a good riding style, as you can see, always right leaned off the bike, just like Wilson as well. So that helps him get around these tight, long corners.
Yeah, and these guys now are in the last lap of this race. Wilson Dilks leads the way from Henry McCartney. He's set a new lap record once again, a 44.3 from Wilson Dilks. So he's putting in the lap times as they come across the line. They take checker flag and they win the race. So Wilson Dilks wins the race from Henry McCartney, who sets a new lap record again, a 44.316. So just slightly faster from Wilson Dilks on that final lap. But Wilson Dilks taking the race win from Henry McCartney, and Archie O'Brien taking 3rd place at the line.
Yeah, Archie O'Brien, 3rd place is really good for his 2nd round on the 70. But Wilson Dilks rode his socks off there, leading, just got past Henry and done exactly what he needed to do, put in those fast times, get that gap away from him. But Henry on that last lap, you could see he was trying a lot, and you can see from his lap times, a 44.3 is a very good time. So he's really trying on that last lap, but unfortunate for him, he didn't quite get it.
Yeah, he didn't quite get it, but Wilson Dilks, what an impressive ride from him. His first ever time here on the Metro Kit. As you mentioned, Ethan, he has rode Metro Kits in Spain quite a lot, but touching on Spain, you're going to Spain hopefully. You're going to Spain for that wild card. Have you got any sort of, how are you feeling towards that? What are you hoping towards? What are you looking towards there in Spain?
So hopefully, because it's so competitive out there compared to FAB. Well, FAB's competitive, but there's about 25 riders in it, and I'm aiming for a lot to get into the points, which will be a massive achievement, and hopefully get a ride next year.
Well, Ethan, we wish you all the best, and it's been great watching you this year, and it's been great seeing you become the first ever 2-time Mini GP 70 champion. So thanks, Ethan, for joining us here. It's been great talking to you, and good luck in Spain.
Thank you.
So that was Ethan Sparks, this year's Mini GP 70 rider, and now it is time for race 1 for the AC40 Rookies. These guys, their first race of the weekend, and it's their final round once again. The championship is not over, and there's Roger Keys making his way towards the Holden area, but the championship is not over. Everything is to play for. Taylor Tomlinson's lead is just down to 14 points from Sebastian Gosławski.
Yeah, Sebastian Gosławski, Tomlinson dominated the early part of the championship, but Tomlinson the last couple of rounds just hasn't quite been his usual self, and Gosławski 2 sweeps in a row. He's on a 6-race win streak. and is looking absolutely on fire. This championship has every possibility of going down to the final race of this season. As we see there, Roger Keys, the race director here at FAB-Racing, just discussing with Lee Clowes, the start marshal, as they welcome the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup to the grid for their race 1 of 3 here at Red Lodge. And well, it's going to be very interesting to see how this all unfolds. Again, just 14 points separating the 77, the speed demon of Taylor Tomlinson, from Sebastian Kozlowski. But it's advantage Tomlinson, as you can see there, sitting on the pole position. Kozlowski only going off of 4th on the grid. So he's got a big oar ahead of him. Again, the grids are the same, and every single race here at FAB-Racing, qualifying decide your start position for race 1, 2 and 3. So we're going to have to wait and see what is going to happen. But it's going to be an interesting one, to say the least, as Tomlinson sits there, laser focus. He knows it's his championship to lose. He is the hunted in this situation as they get going on the formation lap. It is Tomlinson who goes from the pole position with Preston Baker alongside. Logan Cousins starts in 3rd with Sebastian Kozlowski only 4th. Tyler Hartley starts in 5th with Nicholas Dunwoody in 6th. Josh Perkins and Seth Hayward make up the 4th row of the grid, with Kai Hawken and Archie Hooper P9 and 10. Caelan Ratcliffe is 11th with Max Johnson in 12th. Jensen Ansel is 13th with Matthew Jennings 14th. Mason Frederick is 15th with Daisy Polden alongside him. Jensen Cedras is 17th. Oliver Wilson is 18th, with Danny Longhurst and Emerson Oakley rounding out the top 20. They're followed by Reed Saxelby and Henry Brody on row 11, and Freddie Taylor, the 23rd and final rider on our grid of 23. A big grid here for the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. As you can see, crowd watching along. We've got some familiar faces from the paddock watching along there as we wait for the riders to finish their sighting lap, their warm-up lap, and then we will be ready to go racing. Should be 8 laps here for the rookies. And should be very interesting. Of course, the rookies races typically a bit shorter because they're the youngest class here. They're the youngest riders on the grid, so we don't want to tire them out too much, much to the parents' disappointment. But you know, it's always hard-fought racing, and look at that. The 77 of Tomlinson on 1st, his main rival Kozlowski in the 64 only from 4th. That is potentially devastating for Kozlowski's championship hopes. But again, that 6-race winning streak, he's on an absolute roll at the moment. And as we wait for the flag marshal Lee Clowes to point to the lights, which are annoyingly directly behind race control, so we can't see them. But there we go, the riders on to the grids as we get ready, and there we go, pointing to the lights. It's time to go racing. We're underway. Green flag waves, and it's a good start from Tomlinson, but drawing alongside him Preston Baker, and Baker into the lead against Kozlowski, trying to go around the outside into turn 1. Now Tomlinson tries to defend from his championship rival, but unable to make the gap appear. And there goes Taylor Tomlinson, trying to slingshot his way through, but can't quite make the gap appear. But that was very, very close. Tomlinson knew he cannot afford to lose any places in this race. He needs to maximise his points to give him the best possible chance of coming into race 2 and race 3 of a championship he's held the lead of for so long, but he can't quite get past Preston Baker, and Sebastian Kozlowski is already up to 3rd, and he's already closing in on his championship rival. They are good friends off of track, I can guarantee you, but on track they are the fiercest of rivals, as Tomlinson looking to the inside of Baker but can't make the gap appear into the final few corners on the circuit and back onto the main straight. Oh, we got an accident down around the middle of the circuit. A few riders, one of them back going, the other one looks ready to get going. Unfortunately, looks like their race is over, and there goes Tomlinson trying for the lead with the switchback. Maybe, no, he's not going to get it this time, but Tomlinson is looking fast, and Tomlinson is looking for the lead, just can't make the gap appear.
Yeah, he certainly can't. This is one of the characteristics around this circuit, is just how hard it is to overtake Preston Baker in the lead. Sebastian Kozlowski, the 2nd place in the championship, fighting for the championship for his life, is in 3rd at the moment. He's 2nd place in the championship, 14 points back. If he can win all the races and Taylor Tomlinson finishes 2nd in all of them, he will take the championship. So there's still a hope for Sebastian Kozlowski on that number 64. But Taylor Tomlinson, he looks so fast. But can find no way past him. We've seen this year a couple of times that sometimes Taylor Tomlinson can be his own worst enemy, to be honest. Taylor Tomlinson, he has made a couple of mistakes this year, but he looks so quick. He looks so confident on that motorcycle right now. Sebastian Gieslowski is just behind as these riders now head round and push on. Preston Baker still leads on that number 93. It's so impressive what he's doing right now. The fastest lap of the race, a 55.3. So it's so quick from him.
It will indeed. If they finish as they do, the gap extends to 18 points in Tomlinson's favour. If he can get in front of Baker, it'll be around 25 points. So we have to see, but it is very interesting, this championship predicament that is going on. But well, just crazy scenes at the moment right now in the AC40 Rookies. And well, you said that Tomlinson is his own worst enemy sometimes. I'm not going to go as far to say he's a win it or bin it kind of rider, because he most certainly isn't, but there's been times when he could back off and stop pushing, and now isn't one of those times. He's tried to use the lap traffic to no avail to make the gap appear, and that's actually held him up, because now Gieslowski closer than he has been in the previous few laps. And Tomlinson, again, this track is so difficult to overtake. Gieslowski goes on the defensive. He cannot make the gap appear on Preston Baker. If Preston Baker's able to hold on, I believe this would be his first win of the season, his first win in FAB-Racing, which obviously is an amazing result for him. But for Tomlinson, it's a disaster, because it's not the maximum that he could extract from this race and the maximum that he could pound into Gieslowski in this titanic championship fight. The closest one we've got at the moment in the final round of FAB-Racing. Well, Tomlinson, he'll want to try and extend the gap as much as he can, but right now as he's running wide again onto the rumble strips, you don't want to do that on a mini moto. The suspension isn't very big. They're not really designed to handle big curves. It's a small bike. It's not going to respond very well, but Tomlinson is just pushing so hard out there. You can see just how much he's trying to bully the bike around the circuit. He's taking every liberty he can.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's trying to go this way, that way, trying to look around the outside, the inside, everywhere, but now we have more lap traffic.
Oh, he's going to use that, isn't he?
Tomlinson now. Both of them go side of the lap traffic, but Preston Baker will have the inside line for the next left-hander. A long, sweeping left-hander. Taylor Tomlinson tries to get the undercut, but Preston Baker's there whenever he tries to cut in. Preston Baker, who's done such a great job, but Taylor Tomlinson tries to get that drive out the corner. There's two more back markers coming up now. This class, there's quite a lot of back markers that come into play. It's really, whenever you get to them, it's really about luck. And this class, Preston Baker there gets an unlucky. Taylor Tomlinson, can he get the drive? No, he cannot. Taylor Tomlinson still in that second place. Taylor Tomlinson on the grass. Taylor Tomlinson almost down.
Wow.
He saves it, and he saves his championship lead.
Wow, Taylor Tomlinson, I talked about taking liberties. That was bargaining with the devil, because Gieslowski looking, but then Gieslowski gets done himself by Logan Cousins. So Tomlinson, he nearly took the lead, but the rumble strips killed his momentum coming onto the front straight and then running off the circuit, somehow keeping it upright, and I've got no idea how. And now that two-way fight for the lead has become a three-way fight for second, as Tomlinson trying to hold off Logan Cousins. Now, if I do some quick maths, if they finish where they do now, the gap will still be around, actually I think it would be around 7 points or so. So it'd be around 21 points coming into this race, with Preston Baker in the lead on that number 93, as we see him there. 2 laps to go. He is on for the best result of his career so far, his first win in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. But behind them, it's disaster for Taylor Tomlinson and Sebastian Gieslowski, only 3rd and 4th. Logan Cousins is pushing through. Gieslowski's dropped back from these two. Tomlinson needs to get through if he can. If he gets through and he gets second and Gieslowski finishes 4th, then the gap will be 21 points coming into race 2, and that will give Tomlinson the option to wrap it up in race 2. It's it's all to play for here, with 1.5 laps to go now.
Yeah, just 1.5 laps to go. Preston Baker leads the way on the number 93. It's been such an impressive ride for him. We've seen him force Sebastian Gieslowski to have to start a push and force Taylor Tomlinson into a mistake. Taylor Tomlinson almost threw away his whole race, his championship lead. If he fell off there, that would have been Sebastian Gieslowski leading the championship. All it takes is just one race, and now Taylor Tomlinson on this final lap of the race is trying to get past Logan Cousins and try to extend his championship lead. So currently Sebastian Gieslowski is in that 4th, Taylor Thompson is in 3rd, and that difference of positions is going to be a 3-point difference. So it's going to change up the championship dramatically. It's going to increase the lead and make it unlikely for Gieslowski, but anything can happen. Preston Baker, we would not have seen this coming. He's been up front though the final couple of races of the season. He's been putting on such an impressive show, and especially in this round, such an impressive ride from him in this race in these perfect sunny conditions. Number 93, Preston Baker, comes round the final corner, takes the checker flag and wins race 1 of the AC40 Rookies. Logan Cousins hits in the air, he's happy with that one. Taylor Thompson looks almost relieved with that result in 3rd place. Gieslowski comes home in 4th, and what a race that was. Drama is starting to unfold in the AC40 Rookie Championship.
Oh, it is indeed. The gap now 17 points in Tomlinson's favour. Gieslowski, well, he's got a tall order ahead of him now if he wants to take this championship here at Red Lodge. And, well, a fist bump between Tomlinson and Baker. A mark of respect. Baker taking his first win of his FAB-Racing career with a remarkable ride. Superb stuff from the number 93, but unfortunately for him, he's just been overshadowed by the championship fight. Tomlinson against Gieslowski is what we've all got our eyes on, and in this case it went to Tomlinson, but it wasn't clean from either of them, both of them having, I think, poor races by their standards. So we'll have to wait and see how it's all going to unfold in the following 2 races. Of course, these guys have got 2 races to do tomorrow before the season is done and dusted. Theoretically, Gieslowski could do it in race 2 if he has a good enough result. Or Tomlinson rather could do it in race 2. If Gieslowski has a bad result or Tomlinson has an exceptionally good result, I can see this going down to race 3 though. And again, anything can happen in motorsport, and it usually does.
Yeah, it certainly can. I think what we're seeing there is these AC40 Rookie guys. Of course, these guys, majority of them, it's their first ever year in racing, if not their second year in racing, and they've never had to be put under that pressure before, so maybe pressure is just starting to get to them. But coming up now, we will have race 1 of the Moto Team class. It's been a great season for them. Grid numbers have been as high as ever, and racing has been as good as ever for these guys. It's so great to see so many riders getting involved in this championship and having a go. Two classes in this race, 2 different championships to be decided. It's all about the bike, not the rider on this, and there is Jason Pugh's bike, which I believe has Chris Wells in it, getting banged into by Darren Anderson, as now the riders head on to the grid to then come on before they come to their warm-up lap. But of course, a lot of these riders are racing different championships in Free Tech, the Endurance Championship. Here at FAB, you can use your Free Tech bike. It's a real cost-cutting measure here at FAB. These bikes, majority of them, it's practically just a standard bike. Fairings either take it off or put on some race fairs and go racing. Take out the headlights and go racing. So it's such a cheap, cost-effective way to go racing. And I would really ask anyone who feels like getting involved to message some of these guys, like of Jamie King, Darren Anderson, that would all be happy to help get you involved in this series. You can just see the grid. These guys waiting to get out on the bigger bikes. It's so hard for these guys to wrestle it around these go-kart tracks.
It is difficult indeed, and of course remember there's 2 classes here, the open class and the standard class, both of which the titles are still yet to be decided. Jamie King, all he basically needs to do in this one to take the standard class championship and his 2nd Moto Team title overall is essentially finish. It's 70 points is the gap to Ian Jackson, so Ian Jackson would need to outscore Jamie points by 20 points in this race on the 270 in order to take the title down to race 2. So Jamie King's basically just got to have a nice Saturday afternoon cruise to take his 2nd ever Moto Team title. Meanwhile, in the open class, well, Will Houth on the 96 comes into this weekend with a 22-point lead and still has a broken back. He's not here, and I haven't seen the number 96. I haven't seen the number 96 out there either. So Jason Pugh, if Jason Pugh wins this race 1, I mean, realistically, he's already won the championship. Mathematically, he hasn't, because of course Will Houth could somehow turn up tomorrow and take it from him, but no one's close enough to Pugh, so basically Pugh just has to, finish the race and stuff like that, and he's basically done it. So we've got 2 championships that essentially are going to get wrapped up just by cruising home and keeping yourself on the tarmac and on the bike.
Yeah, we certainly do. A complete difference in motorcycles for these guys. You can just see the wide variety that we have here at FAB in this motor team class. Bikes of all different shapes and sorts. Some of them even having parts of different bikes on it. But they work and they go racing as we wait.
Problems there.
Yeah, maybe just in the different grid slot. Yeah, it was like he just overshot his grid slot, shaking the head, and oh no, it looks like he's actually stalled the bike, so he's trying to bump start it and get it restarted. He's shaking the head and he's just saying go on without me, it seems. So the number 19 there running into issues, not happy, putting it in to the pit lane now. So these guys are waiting to go on. We wait for the green flag to drop, and the green flag drops and we go racing. It's Darren Anderson who gets a great start, but coming over the line it is Jack Van Eden that gets the race lead and leads the way into turn 2. Jamie King though, although all he has to do is finish this race, he's in third and he's having a great ride. Jason Pugh's bike, Chris Wells on it, is in fourth at the moment, but Darren Anderson coming out of the hairpins, powering it out, and he's trying to find any way past the number 17. A big moment there actually. So Darren Anderson trying to pounce into the long left-hander. I was speaking to Even Sparks in the last race. He was just saying around this track your left leg can sometimes get sore because you're turning left for that long. It's so tricky for these guys, and now powering it out through. Half a lap is done. Jack Van Eden is leading the way on the number 17 from Darren Anderson. Darren Anderson has had an incredible season. He's had such a strong show whenever he's been here. He's also had different riders on his bike this season, as has most of these guys, which is something that Will Harv could have done on the number 96. He could have brought his bike, got one of his friends to ride it. I would have loved to see a Birkin in this class. It would have been very, very entertaining. But Darren Anderson now taking the race lead.
Oh, I would love to see a Birkin in this class. Tell me about it. But it is Darren Anderson to the lead on the 133. And of course, Darren Anderson in the open class, as is Jack Van Eden on the number 17 bike. So these guys fighting for the open class. So third place overall, Jamie King. Obviously, he's at the moment he's going to wrap up the championship come the checkered flag. But it's important to remember that King is... so we've just been told in our ear, actually, that Jack Van Eden on the 17 has a 3-second jump start penalty. A moto team, it does what it wants to do. It's just chaos from start to finish sometimes. So Jack Van Eden needs to get a shift on if he wants to hold on to this win. But as I was going to say, Jamie King in P3 overall is technically leading because he's in the standard class. So you got to do a lot of mental math to figure out who's where. But again, just to put it into perspective, Jamie King currently is on course to wrap up the standard championship. Chris Wells is not on course to wrap up the championship in the open class this race, but of course he is set to do so this weekend, pending Will Have or his bike showing up. Again, you can just rock up and put someone else on the bike for you. That's what Jamie King did all of last season. He used to run a competition through his Pit Bike Sonic YouTube channel where members of the Fab Paddock could enter a sweepstakes or something like that and win a weekend on his moto team bike, although he's not done that as much this year for reasons I'm not really sure why, but he's set to take another title nonetheless. Jack Van Eden fastest lap last time, but Darren Anderson still in the lead.
Yeah, you can just see Malcolm Stein coming through. Your picture of Jamie Dess, just behind Jamie Dess actually, running a Triumph 675 Fair, and it looks like on the front of his Yamaha. So you can just see the difference of motorcycles here, different approaches to creating a motor team bike. That's so great to see these guys becoming creative and just getting a bike prepared out there to go racing and creating close racing. These guys, as I said at the start of the race, it's such different approaches, but it's such close racing, and it's a racing which off track they're all friends, and a lot of these guys racing in multiple classes. The likes of Jamie King, Chris Wells are all racing in different classes at the moment, so they really get these extra bike time, really having to muscle these bikes around this track. These bikes have the biggest wheels that we have here of any class, so because of that they're so much harder to get around these corners, which is sometimes why we see slightly slower lap times than maybe what you would expect from them. But now coming out the final corner, it is Jamie Dess squatting down on that bike. 7 laps to go in this race, and Darren Anderson up at the front is leading by 0.7 of a second, but now also sounds like Madison Martlew, who is currently down 15th on our timing screens, but it appears that she may not have a transponder on her motorcycle. So because of that, she's showing down in last at the moment, but she might be further up the order. But of course, the rules here at FAB is if the transponder is on your motorcycle and just not working, you will get to keep your result. But if you do not have a transponder on your motorcycle at all, you will be disqualified from the results.
Yeah, it's a harsh but fair ruling. There is Martley on the 888. So we know that she's out on track for starters, just trying to figure out where she is on circuit. That's the lead 2 coming through to lap her, actually. So she's down the back somewhere, but I don't think she's running last. But yeah, again, harsh but fair from the stewards and the race directors and whatnot. You know, everyone in race control does such a great job, and of course, it being the finale, it's probably a good time to say a massive thank you to everyone in race control who've been doing such an amazing job this season. You know, big shout out to Rob and Roger, the 2 race directors here who make FAB-Racing happen. It's been a fantastic season, and obviously we cannot thank you enough for everything that you do and have done since 2004 and the creation of this fantastic championship. There's so many young stars come and make their start in motorcycle racing, and so many slightly older stars come over for a weekend of good fun and time with some mates, and of course some fantastic racing as well. 5 laps left to go, and we're seeing here, well, Jason Pugh, or should I say Chris Wells, on the number 8 Pugh bike. Again, it's the bike that matters the motor team, not the rider, so it is technically Jason Pugh, but it's Chris Wells on the bike. Wrap your head around it. If he finishes where he does now, he won't wrap up the championship. Well, he can't technically wrap up the championship until after race 3, because theoretically the number 96 bike of Will Howard could be entered under someone else's name and they could go out and win the championship still. But he's not actually going to take the championship lead, I do not believe, in this race. Again, realistically, he's got it because Will Howard is not here, and that is a big shame, but that's how it works. Fortunately, injuries are a part of sport. It's unfortunately how it is, and a big shame that Will Howard has had to sit out these last 2 rounds and sacrifice a few championships. And we're seeing moves being made behind Chris Wells there. 111 trying to make positions. Some cloud cover coming over here at Red Lodge. Now, we're not far from Bury St Edmunds, so if you want to do some weather googling at home, do it yourself. But the weather app's predicting dry all weekend. But it's not looking particularly pleasant at the moment, to put it politely, as we come on to 4 laps left to run. And it's, well, just see holding up there Chris Wells, that number 8 bike. We know it struggles a little bit in the mid-corner sometimes, just doesn't quite have the pace again. I mean, again, all these bikes, if you want to get involved in Moto Team, these are basically just road legal bikes that people have bought, whacked a race fairing and a number on it, and away you go. It's super cost-effective racing, as off the track, running the white motorcycle there, but managed to get back home without any delay, but did lose out a position. But yeah, it's super cost-effective racing, super fun racing, and well, there's a reason it's so popular.
Yeah, there certainly is, and now it looks like it was just Van Eden trying to get past some back markers there, Philip Joyce being one of them, and Philip Joyce running off the track. But just behind Philip Joyce we have Iona Glover trying to pile on that pressure. Iona Glover's bike anyway, but up front, although Van Eden does have that 3-second penalty, he still is showing some great pace. He's still showing almost identical lap times to Darren Anderson. In fact, last lap he was faster than Darren Anderson. So maybe tomorrow we can see an up front battle to the wire, because of course today the result will get plus 3 seconds added onto it. But Philip Joyce on the 119 is going round and is trying to not crack from the pressure. And now these guys, 2 laps to go, 1.5 laps now. It's very impressive, but the leader is still Darren Anderson, the 133, red front plate on his bike. It's been so impressive, bright red levers for him, and they're coming for your pictures. Scott Jewett, we were speaking to him before the weekend, says he feels some sort of pressure as these guys are coming through. Chris Wells coming for a picture now, piling it on, and there is further back down the order, and there's Van Eden, and just in front of Van Eden it is our race leader, it is Darren Anderson. So Van Eden is not too far back though, although he has that 3-second penalty. So he will be finishing in second place in this race unless if anything dramatic happens. Going on to the last lap now, it is Darren Anderson who leads the way. The last lap flag was out there. Van Eden just behind him. Darren Anderson sets the fastest lap of the race, a 50.6 being the fastest lap. Still quite a bit off the lap record, but conditions are slightly worse than what it was earlier on. Conditions are colder, but Darren Anderson, that will not affect him. Neither all these back markers in front, although he will be feeling some pressure because he will not know that Van Eden has that jump start, the 133, piling on, trying to not crack from the pressure that Van Eden is trying to pile on him. Half a lap to go. The 133 now at back markers actually, so he's trying to get past nicely. He's got past one. Philip Joyce has a little look. We'll probably see it's him and we'll probably just let him pass Van Eden, doing the exact same. Last set for the track now. He comes round the final corner now and takes the race win. It is Darren Anderson, race 1 and race 1 winner. You can hear the claps from the crowd, and Van Eden in that second place, although he had that jump start. We wait for Jamie King to cross the line, and Jamie King will come and take the checker flag, and then he will become champion. So Jamie King on that number 1 plate, he will be able to retain it for another year. Jamie King takes the checker flag now, wins the Moto Team Standard Championship. What a year it was for him. Jamie King, number 1 plate, and defended it once again.
That's now 5 FAB-Racing titles for Jamie King. 3 in Pit Bike 140, 2 in Moto Team. That is an amazing achievement. He's throwing his gloves into the crowd. Look at him. Come on, Jamie, mate. The weekend's not even started, but Jamie King, back-to-back 2-time champion of Moto Team in 2022 and becomes a 5-time FAB-Racing champion. What an achievement for Pit Bike Sonic. The traditional number 76 with the number 1, and now the bike won't start. So just to rub it in, he's won the championship, and after a long, hard season, the bike has given way. Well, there we go. I'm sure that Jamie will probably be rocking up in the commentary booth on Sunday for one of the Moto Team races now that it's done and dusted. But Jamie King, for the 5th time in his history, for the 2nd time in Moto Team, champion.
Yeah, Jamie King there, trying to get the bike started still, but it doesn't look like it wants it. Brought him to the championship though, so he can't complain, but it's not one to go. Will he perhaps try bump start it, or will he just pull into the pits and, well, say thanks to the bike anyway, because he can't be too mad. It brought him to the championship. It was reliable all year, not one mechanical failure from him. Pushing it down the wrong way of pit lane now just to get back to the paddock as quick as possible. But there is a championship decided in race 1 at the final round.
Yeah, a little bit red-faced there for Jamie King, I think. Boy, just playing a practical joke. That is, one way to do it, I'll say that much. Cross the line, go to show off and celebrate with your mates and the fans and your family, and then the bike conks out. How about that? But Jamie King, there he goes. He's got it going again, too. It's all good now. But Jamie King, thank you. A message from Race Control. Thank you for everything you do for the championship. Jamie, of course, is not just a rider and a YouTuber. He does so much more. A big thank you to Jamie King, and a congratulations, a 5-time FAB-Racing champion. Well then, as we get ready to go racing for the first time here in the Mini GP 50s, we have to wait and see as the riders get ready to make their way onto the grid. The riders just waiting in the holding area, last checks, clears and balances being done on the grid, and just some last minute preparations being made. But this is the championship that we've all got our eyes on, Lewis, because this is the championship. It's Archie O'Brien against Luke Fitchett. Well, course marker Holt, unfortunately, he'll be speaking to you in a second, but he's out of the championship contention with his injury. It's all about it's all about Luke Fitchett against Archie O'Brien. It's all about the number 91 and the number 7, and it's all eyes on that front row of the grid.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's a big grid that we have here this weekend in the Mini GP 50s. It's bigger than what we're normally seeing. It's great seeing so many riders getting involved in this championship, and a championship that has been great all season and all year long. And it's going to be one that is to be looked out for. Luke Fitchett though will be starting in pole position with Archie O'Brien alongside him. Finlay Paulhill will be in that second row of the grid, and next to him will be Byron Johnson. And it's been great to see Luke Fitchett being put in such a important year. But alongside me is Marco Holt. Should have been racing in this championship and should have been potentially even wrapping up a championship. So Marco Holt, how are you? And tell everyone why you're not racing here today.
Yeah, so I'm not racing today because I broke my leg, unfortunately, in Spain on a Moto 5. But yeah, we very gutted that we couldn't ride, but we just come back stronger next year and hope for the same again.
Yeah, hopefully so. It was great senior battles all year, and it's been so impressive to see you on that metric at 50, because you've been so impressive and so confident, although this season has been full of up and downs for you. And now, of course, you have that injury with your leg. It is a championship that is still raging on down to the wire, but Harley Baker has been told did not qualify for this race, but he will be racing and he will be competing, and hopefully will be putting on a great show. Luke Fitchett on the front row on pole position, number 7. He will be wanting a great result in race 1. Bethany Ashby there further back in number 8. One of our female riders, a couple of female riders, Oliver Hall as well at the back. Oh, such a big field in the Mini GP 50s. We wait for final checks to be done. Final word to Oliver Hall at the back of the grid before we can get underway. And then the green flag will drop. No lights here. No lights here at this circuit, so it'll be a flag, and then we will get racing. Luke Fitchett, number 7, will be ready to go and will be wanting to go. We've been sitting on grid for quite a while. Lee Klaus says everything's okay, points to the flag. The flag is up and the flag is dropped, and now Luke Fitchett, a great start, and he leads the way, tries to take that championship here today. Archie O'Brien in second place, getting run wide. Further back is Austin Johnson. Frankie Watson's trying to find a way past him. Now Luke Fitchett though up front, leading the way straight away. There's Austin Johnson. Finlay Paulhill just in front of him, with Bill Harris just behind. And now straight under pressure, it is Archie O'Brien. The Spider-Man helmet is out, and it's out in force. Luke Fitchett is going to have to find something special and going to have to dig deep to be able to win here at this circuit at Red Lodge. It's such a hard track to pass on, but it's been an excellent start from Luke Fitchett, like we've seen many times this year.
Yeah, it was very good from Luke. He started to improve a lot, because at the start of the season he rode really well, but he just didn't have a lot. But at the moment he's riding awesome and he's leading the championship, so see what he can do from there.
Yeah, Archie O'Brien took his first win last time out, and he's full of confidence right now. He's trying to find another race victory this season to close off his season on what has been a great first year in this championship. You wouldn't think it by watching it, because Archie O'Brien looks so strong. Currently a 49-point lead that Luke Fitchett has over O'Brien. So O'Brien, all he needs to do is try and win this race, try and do his best, and try and hope for a miracle, maybe even a mechanical from Luke Fitchett, because Luke Fitchett, all he has to do is stay on the bike, and it's a lot of pressure to carry in someone's back, really. Marco, you've been in this position before. What is it like leading a championship?
Well, it's very pressurising, because you don't know what can happen in bike racing, because you can fall off on the last lap, you could get overtaken. There's loads of different possibilities that can happen. So yeah, it's really nerve-wracking.
Yeah, and Luke Fitchett right now, though, it doesn't look like he's going to cave in to that pressure and cave in to that race victory, because 8 laps to go in this race, he's looking so strong. Archie O'Brien, though, how hard is it to do what he has done this year? It's for Archie O'Brien. They're having his front end just tucked, but he managed to keep it up. He might have lost some time there, though, but further back, Byron Johnson battling with Finlay Paulhill. But just touched on Archie O'Brien. How hard is it to do what he's done? And even Byron Johnson jumping on these 50s and being so quick straight away.
Yeah, it's a very tough thing to do, because he's never, he does a bit of motocross, Byron, but he's not really ever rode a metric kit, like in a race. So it's riding really well, and so is Finlay Paulhill, considering he's come back from an accident and he's riding really well.
Yeah, he's riding superb. Finlay Paulhill had an arm injury towards the start of the season, and he's managed just to recover and build that strength up, and now he's pushing on and pushing to try and get past Byron Johnson on the number 37. He's putting a great show, just as Luke Fitchett is putting a 46 dead, so a great lap time from him, and actually that is going to be a brand new lap record by 8/10 of a second. Luke Fitchett takes a new lap record with a 46 and Archie O'Brien actually has just set a 45.9, so Archie O'Brien smashes that lap record by almost 9/10 of a second of what was previously set going into this race. So they're flying this time around, and they're doing some great lap times around such a tight circuit.
Yeah, it is a very tight circuit. It's very technical as well because it's really tight and twisty, especially on the infield around the carousel. So yeah, fair play to Archie for smashing the lap record.
Yeah, great lap times coming in from these guys. Track conditions being almost perfect, but Archie O'Brien, he set that new lap record even with a slight moment, even with a slight tuck of the front, and yet he still puts in a blisteringly fast time, and now he's on the tail still of Luke Fitchett. 5 laps to go in this race. They're approaching Harley Baker now. They're going to have to just try and get past him as Byron Johnson still under pressure from Finlay Paulhill. But if you were in this position, if you were leading a race and a championship, would you potentially just not fight as hard, not push as hard in this race, or would you still go 100% tact like Luke Fitchett's doing?
Yeah, I would always go 100% like Luke in the moment, because you can never know if Archie can have an absolute amazing rest of the season after this race, and he could end up winning all the races, so you never know what can happen. Like I said earlier, like anything can happen.
Yeah, this is motorsport. Anything can happen. Anything can happen in these 5 laps that we have left. It's still Paulhill in this group that's still trying to chase Byron Johnson. Now they're approaching Harley Baker. Currently in 11th position, Sam Gardner looks like he's not started this race, or maybe having a slight transponder issue. But Byron Johnson getting past Harley Baker, setting them up actually into the grass. So a very, very aggressive move there, but it was one that he felt had to be done. He felt like he had to be aggressive there. So Harley Baker trying to rejoin the track after getting sat up there from Byron Johnson.
Yeah, it was a very harsh move, but it had to be done to maybe not lose the position, but racing is racing.
Yeah, racing is racing. And Finlay Paulhill now is close right onto the back, and this is for 3rd position, the final position on the podium. So it's been so impressive, and we see what Byron Johnson's doing in 3rd place at the moment. He's just came up from a mini moto, racing also mini motos this weekend. What would you say? Would you say there's much difference in the mindset that he has to take going into these races from a mini moto to a main circuit?
I wouldn't say there is much difference, because riding's just riding, isn't it? But like, I reckon this is a harder championship, so he might have to think more and just be a bit smarter, like just lines and where to get on the power and what to do, whether to slow himself down into one corner to get the exit out of another. It's just, yeah, I think it takes a bit of the different mindset, but also you can use some that you take off the mini and transform it to the Metro kit.
Yeah, Luke Fitchett though up front still leads away from Archie O'Brien, who's just set another lap record of a 45.7 this time around. So the lap record's getting absolutely smashed this time around. Going into this race, it was a 46.8. So 1.1 seconds they've improved. Would you say that's maybe because of the track temperature that we have, or has the class just progressed that much over the past year?
Technology's got a lot better, which you can't blame it on that, but the riders are a lot really good, and also they're on the PMTs now, because they're a little bit grippier than the Mitas. But I think some of them, like you say, Archie and Luke, Byron and Finlay, all of them, they've just improved so much. It's just an absolute different, they're just different riders now.
Yeah, they certainly are. And last lap of the race now, and Luke Fitchett has been a different rider this time around. He's been so dominant. He's not let Archie O'Brien have one chance. He's just set a new lap record of a 45.677 this time around. So the lap record's getting smashed every single lap from these guys. Luke Fitchett though in the last lap of the race is still leading, as this battle for 3rd is still going on. Finlay Paulhill is running out of opportunities, as is Archie O'Brien. Luke Fitchett though, all he has to do is keep it on 2 wheels and take this race victory. He will take the championship if he can take this checker flag. He has to just stay on now, just get to the line. He comes around the final corner, he takes the checker flag and takes the championship for 2022. Luke Fitchett, number 7, is number 1 of the year. Such an impressive ride from him.
Well done to Luke, he did awesome.
Yeah, it's been so impressive. You're racing with him at the start of this season, and what would you say has really helped him this year and really made him a rider that has got into these positions to become a championship winner?
I think the first round at Leeds, when me and him, I wouldn't say we battled, but I pushed him a little bit, you could say, and also when me and Archie started to battle and he was like getting more thirds, then I think that like made him think, right, I need to like up my level a little bit just to push a bit harder, and he's done it and he's won the championship, so great ride from him.
Yeah, he certainly has. It was an excellent ride from him. He won the race by 0.8 of a second. Luke Fitchett, as Archie O'Brien actually had a small moment on the cool-down lap there, having a small crash, but what a race that was. What a championship it's been this year. And it was, of course, this man here who all the talk's been about. He gets spoken to by his dad. A cuddle will be tears of joy. And what a great race that was. A pat on the back and a pat to the rider to say well done. He's done excellent this year, but it has all been on Luke Fitchett today and this season. And Luke Fitchett now takes the race lead and takes the race win by 0.8 of a second from Archie O'Brien. Byron Johnson comes home in third. Finlay Paul Hill, a heroic ride in fourth from Austin Johnson. Bill Harris comes home in sixth with Frankie Watson just behind in seventh. Oliver Hall having a superb ride in 8th place in one of his first race weekends in a 50. Bethany Ashby coming home in 9th with Bailey Lords in 10th and Harley Baker in 11th. So a great race in the Mini GP 50s. It was great for you to join us, Marco, and we hope to see you on track next year. And just quickly, why don't you tell everyone what you'll be doing next year?
Next year we hope to do the 70s, maybe even carry on with the 50s, and in Spain we've got a team looking at us for Motor 4, and then if not, then we'll just carry on with Motor 5 and just learn some more.
Well, it was great for you to join us, Marco. Thank you very much. We hope to see you on track next year. So that was Marco Holt. Marco, we'll hopefully see you on track soon.
Yes, we're going to see if we can join for Linden Hill as well.
Well, Marco Holt, can he win Lord of Linden Hill? That is the question. It's going to be a great race, but that was race 1 for the Mini GP 50s. Now, it is time for race 1 for the Extreme 200 class. It's been a great season from them. Grid numbers have been fluctuating quite a lot this year in the Extreme 200s, but all season we've seen very close racing, and for the first time in quite a while we have a massive grid for these guys. You can just see them all coming through, and a lot of different riders from different classes. 17 riders on this grid.
It's going to be a big grid, to say the least. Of course, we know the championship has been done and dusted by Filip Sorowiak, so we're going to have to wait and see. But I've been joined by the one and only Harry Payne. Harry, great to have you here in the commentary booth. How are you feeling? Well, apparently your microphone isn't on, but I'll ask you again in a moment. Harry Payne, how are you feeling?
Right, no, it should work. Yeah, it's good, thanks. Yeah, I was happy with that race. Obviously, I beat my lap time from yesterday, which was my previous fastest, and now I'm only half a second off what I was doing last year.
Oh, that's great stuff. I mean, obviously this year for you, it's been a bit of an interesting one, given you nearly died at one point. So, it's been a bit of a learning curve getting back on the bike and all. But it's great to see you here, and it's great to see you always putting in the effort. So,
thank you.
How are you feeling looking forward into next year? Are you ready to get back on top of the podium?
Yeah, I reckon next year I'll be stronger and better. So.
Well, that's great to hear as we wait for the riders to get their way onto the grid, of course. This championship done and dusted. Filip Sorowiak, British Talent Cup rider, and a FAB graduate, came back. He has been classed the champion, but it will be Richard Holmes-Williams who starts on the pole position with Sullivan Mounsey going alongside as we are underway for the race. And it's a great start from Sullivan Mounsey on that Moto 4 Frankenstein machine, straight into the lead. Rossi Banham following. Actually, Rossi Banham's lost a few places, actually behind Charlie Huntingford, I think, but now Sullivan Mounsey getting retaken by Richard Holmes-Williams, who absolutely adores this track. And there goes Holmes-Williams unleashing the beast down the back stretch. Sully, though, sticking with him for a moment. We know he really loves that bike. We know it's fast. And we know that Sullivan is a quality rider as well. But it will be Richard Holmes-Williams that leads the way from Sullivan Mounty, and I believe Rossi Banham just about holding on to P3 in there as well. Noah Guillory in the fight there in P4. Yes, there he is. Rossi Banham, of course, wrapped up the pit bike 140 title a few rounds ago and looking to wrap up the Extreme 200's Vice Championship this weekend. What a season it has been for the number 96 rider, but it's all eyes on the front. It's all eyes on Richard Holmes-Williams.
Yeah, it's a brilliant start from Sully, but obviously Richard knows this track really well and obviously got the better of Sully, and now Sully's looking to maybe try and chase Richard.
Yeah, maybe, and we can see here as well, we see Noah Guillory on that Mini GP70 bike chasing Rossi Banham on that pit bike style machine, you know, and that's what's so beautiful about this class, isn't it, Harry? You get such a mishmash of all of these different machines, and you really get to see what it takes to ride the different bikes. As Noah Guillory, that is a stunning overtake from the 41 of Noah Guillory. He even takes the rumble strips on the way onto the front stretch as well. Brilliant move by the number 41, who actually prioritises this class over the LS2 Helmets Mini GP70 British Championship, which I think is the only person to really do that, but it's rewarded him with podiums all throughout this year, and now he's fighting with Rossi Banham to get onto the third step. And as I was saying, Harry, you know, you get such a different combination of bikes, and it really goes to show just how different how different each bike is,
yeah,
how much of a different riding style you need.
Yeah, like Rossi's on a 4-stroke and Noah Guillory is on a Metric 2-stroke, so the difference in speed is quite a lot. The 70 is faster than the 140, but Rossi's not giving up and hopefully trying to fight with Noah.
Absolutely, and fight they will all the way to the end, I'm sure, although Noah actually pulling out the gap just a little bit on that last lap. It's now just over half a second, but Rossi, I think Noah may have made a mistake there because he is closed right onto the back of the number 41, and he's actually trying to slide up the inside, but Guillory gets the drive, and Guillory keeps hold of the place.
Ooh.
Richard Holmes-Williams, as Rossi actually tries to switch it back, but no, can't quite make the gap appear this time by. It's Richard Holmes-Williams with the fastest lap so far, 45.533, not far off lap record pace. We know he likes it around here. He is absolutely soaring away at the front at the moment. It's 3.5 seconds back to Sullivan Mounty in second. Noah Guillory's managed to get back into third place as well, just in front of Rossi Banham. And you know what, just behind Rossi Banham, Charlie Huntingford and Simon Huntingford, they're not too far away either. They're starting to close in.
Yeah, I mean, with Rossi and Noah obviously battling, this will be quite a good opportunity for Simon and Charlie to sort of reel the gap back in and maybe even try and overtake that third place battle.
It would indeed. There's still 7 laps left to run, a long way to go in this race. So we're going to have to wait and see how it all unfolds. There is Sullivan Mounty. And it's not quite a Moto 4 machine. It's obviously a custom-built motorcycle, which is sort of Moto 4 regulations. It's been destroyed about 3 times this year anyway. And actually he runs, as we see, the race leader Holmes-Williams there. Sullivan Mounty actually runs his used British Talent Cup tyres in the Extreme 200s, because apparently they've still got enough grip with them, even if they're absolutely done for the Moto 3 British Talent Cup bikes. They've still got plenty of use left in them for the Moto 4 Extreme 200 bike he runs, so he basically just fishes them out of his bin and puts them back on the bike. So great way to save money there. Some money saving tips from Sullivan Mounty and the Mounty family. But right now it's all about Richard Holmes-Williams. He has been so fast all weekend, not just in this but in the senior mini motors as well. The tractor boy himself, so called after his beloved Ipswich Town FC. And actually just getting caught up in a little bit of traffic here. Shouldn't be too much of a problem because the gap back to Mounty is massive. But Harry, I'm sure you've had that experience in races where there's no blue flags here at FAB-Racing. Traffic, it can make or break your race.
Yeah, you really do get nervous when you come up to back markers, but you just have to think the person that you're battling with, they have to go through it as well. And obviously for Richard Holmes-Williams, luckily his lines have sort of helped him maybe a little bit, and now Sully's going to catch back up to the back markers.
Yeah, it's basically about where you catch the back markers. I mean, sometimes they're not too much of trouble. We've seen time and time again this season where they've just flipped a race on its complete head. Although this championship is done, and Richard Holmes-Williams is now 6.5 seconds up the road on Sullivan Mounty. That is a huge gap. It is, it can still cause chaos. As we see here, Sullivan Mounty, he's going to get held up into Senna. Turn 2, it's a hairpin with the infield. It's a short left-right kink. Not running the infield circuit, which some of the classes don't run this section here because it's just too difficult for them to run to the classes like the sidecars. It's just too difficult for them to navigate their way around that middle section. Sullivan Mounsey, to be fair to him, has ridden a fantastic race. He's had a great season. Sullivan Mounsey, of course, alongside his British Talent Cup, his British Talent Cup efforts and other championships all around Europe. He has been superb in this Extreme 200 category. And I mean, Sullivan, he is a FAB-Racing boy, born and bred. You know, he's been here for a long time, so we see their problems in the final corner for one of the riders.
Clayton Edmonds.
Is that Clayton Edmonds? It is Clayton Edmonds. Clayton Edmonds, on his return to FAB-Racing, the champion of the Mini GP 50s from last year. Well, he's come back and has got to run. That is Charlie Huntingford, who's having problems. So suddenly disaster striking for many of the riders here. Again, that's another thing that we sometimes get at tracks like this, Harry. Sometimes it all just kicks off very, very quickly.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it can all happen in one lap.
Absolutely can. And a big shame, but it looks like everyone's managed just about to get going again at least. And look at that, suddenly Rossi Bannon's on the back of Sullivan Mounsey. So what's gone on here? Sullivan Mounsey had about 3 seconds on Rossi Bannon a few laps ago, and suddenly the Pit Bike 140 champion, the Extreme 200 vice champion elect, is all over the back of the British Talent Cup rider. It's British Talent Cup against Junior Superstock. Oh, this is brilliant stuff.
This will be a good battle, this will be.
Oh, this is 2 of the finest riders that we've got in the Fab paddock, full stop. And they're about to go tooth and nail at each other with 1.5 laps left to run here at Red Lodge in race 1 of the Extreme 200. Here at the finale of the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships. It's been a fantastic season, and we've still got racing yet to come all across this weekend. Final lap for Richard Holmes-Williams, shortly to be final lap for Sullivan Mounsey and for Rossi Bannon, who is all over his tail. 4.5 tenths is the gap at the line last time by. We know it's difficult to overtake round here, Harry. I mean, I'm sure you've got that experience. Can Sullivan hold on?
I reckon if he keeps it defensive and maybe sort of pushes a little bit harder through some places, then he'll maybe try and hold on. But if Rossi pushes a little bit harder... Oh, he's already made it through.
He's made it through. Oh, and that's Sullivan trying to get to the outside. Sullivan Mounsey with a superb move.
Around the
outside. As we wait for Richard Holmes-Williams to come to the line to claim victory. And we are waiting quite a long time. There's a few back markers coming through. There it goes. Richard Holmes-Williams takes a dominant win, but we wait for the next bikes in the shot. Who's going to be in second? Will it be Mounsey? It is Mounsey. Sullivan Mounsey holds on. Rossi Bannon has to settle for third, but what a late battle that was to round out the podium. Simon Huntingford, it will come home in 4th place unless Luke Rallins managed to do him at the line. And Jack Andrews managed to get 6th. Wow, what a race, what an opening race we've had there in the Extreme 200s.
Well, coming onto that back straight, they were side by side and really close. And then Sully just held it round the outside, round that long corner.
I mean, it just goes to show the quality of the riders that we have here in FAB-Racing. Obviously, Sullivan Mounsey's off of British Talent Cup now. He's moved on to bigger and better things, but, you know, that was a super, super brave move. Superb from him.
And Rossi's in BSB now, so...
Yeah, of course, Rossi Bannon as well. The champion of the Pit Bike 140s. He's now in Junior Superstock. It's Richard Holmes-Williams who takes a fantastic victory. Sullivan Mounsey manages to hold on to P2 with Rossi Bannon in P3. Simon Huntingford is P4 with Luke Allen in P5. Jack Andrews P6. Owen Thomas is 7th with Noah Guillory, Zach Toreen and Samuel Munson rounding out the top 10. That'll be it for the Extreme 200 for today. But don't worry, they've still got race 2s and 3s to come, the final race 2 and 3s of the season. Thank you very much for joining me, Harry. We've just seen an absolutely fantastic race, and of course, best of luck for the rest of the weekend as well.
Thank you.
No problems. And, well, Harry Payne giving some superb inside analysis from the eyes of a rider who's actually competent, and now stepping back into the commentary booth is the eyes of a rider who's not so competent, is Lewis Ray. Hello, Lewis.
That's a great introduction there, Ross. I feel very privileged right now. But yeah, that was a great race that we've seen there. Richard Holmes-Williams looking so confident around this circuit. It's great to see from him.
It is indeed. What a performance from Richard Holmes-Williams. What a battle for second as well. Brilliant stuff. They've still got 2 races to come.
Next up will be race 1 for the LC40 Elites, the highest class of mini motor racing in the UK, the best riders that step up, and this is really the class where we see the talents of the future. We see where they're going to go, because from here they usually go to the likes of the Metrokit 50s and progress up through the ranks into eventually the Talent Cup and British Championship and even some World Championships. So there's Ollie Gorman with his dad John, checking that everything's right off the bike, warming up the bike and warming up the rear tyre. Good luck, of course, to Casey O'Gorman from everyone here at FAB-Racing this weekend at Aragon for the European Talent Cup. Casey's had a great season both in the Talent Cup and the Red Bull Rookies, and even an appearance in the Junior World Championship in the Junior GP Series. So it's great to see, and it's great to see these Johnson brothers both on the front row and both putting on a spectacular show, as Byron Johnson will be starting from pole position with a 49.250 from his older brother Austin Johnson in second. Finlay Paul Hill and Matthew Thomas will be on our second row of the grid, with Sam Gardner and Chloe Gleeson in 5th and 6th. Jensen Bishop will be starting 7th with Ollie O'Gorman in 8th, with George Ackerman and Dylan Toreen on the 5th row of the grid in 9th and 10th. Bradley Cortez, one of our Scottish riders here, will be starting in 11th place with Rex Austin alongside him, and Cal Maxwell rounds out our 13 bike grid that we have here in the LC40 Elite. So it's going to be a great race. The championship is already decided, but that will not stop them on track.
Yeah, it certainly won't stop the Johnson brothers, will it? Those two like to give each other a good old race, even with their age difference and their bike difference. I mean, for half of this season, Byron Johnson was actually running with his liquid-cooled bike in this air-cooled class. It's only been the last few rounds when he's switched over onto the liquid-cooled classic, which just got a little bit more power and really makes a difference on the straights. And as the final riders bring it round, Ollie O'Gorman there clearing his engine out, making sure it's all okay as we get ready to go racing for the first time this weekend, the FAB-Racing finale in the LC40 Elites, the premier class of mini moto racing in the UK. And as we wait for the green flag to drop to get us under the way, Sam Clowes points to the flag marshal. We go, and it's a great start there from the Johnsons, and actually trying to pull up alongside is Finlay Pole, who has managed to poke a nose at the inside of Austin Johnson and take second place. A great start there for Finlay Polehill, Matthew Thomas as well in P3 with Chloe Gleeson not far behind. But wow, what a start that was for Finlay Polehill. When it looked like the Johnson brothers were going to hold on to 1-2, he slid up the inside of Austin and managed to hold on. Great stuff there, but it is Byron Johnson that leads this race. Finlay Polehill in second, and Austin Johnson holding on to third. Matthew Thomas and Chloe Gleeson giving them chase behind as well. A 5-rider breakaway already forming at the front of the pack. Let's see how long this battle can last.
Yeah, let's wait and see, because now Austin Johnson is having to put in the work and having to try and catch up and then get past Finlay Polehill. Finlay Polehill, the lateral half of the season, has been so strong once he's recovered from that arm break. He said actually during an interview earlier this weekend that he felt like he could have battled further up the field for the whole championship and even fought for the championship if he never got that injury, but he made a slight mistake there, and Austin Johnson really wanted past. Austin Johnson, of course, had that issue in qualifying too with his motorcycle coming to a halt at turn 1, which gave Byron Johnson pole position from his Q1 time, as his brother could not better it. Matthew Thomas though is at the back of this pack on the 128, and he's waiting there and he's lurking, he's waiting for a time to strike. 8 laps to go in this race, plenty of time for moves to be made, as Paul Hill now is looking racing. He's looking like he's diving on the inside, and he does. And now Byron Johnson has the inside for the next corner. This circuit is corner after corner, and it's so hard to make a move because of that, but Byron Johnson manages just to clutch onto that race lead and just hold on to it for a little bit longer, as Paul Hill now is under pressure from his older brother Austin.
Wow, what an attempt at a move that was, rather, from Finlay Polehill. Unfortunately, Chloe Gleeson's dropped out of this lead fight. The Fab 5 has become the Fab 4, but it's still Johnson from Polehill, from Johnson from Thomas, and once again Polehill looking to the inside. That's too far back. It's a bit brave, maybe just trying to apply some pressure onto Byron Johnson, trying to force him into a mistake. That is a very legitimate racing tactic that these young riders will be learning. Just pressure your opponents into getting it wrong and just take the free position. But Polehill is looking very fast indeed. And it's just so difficult to overtake around here. I mean, I was watching the 50s race 1 with Taylor Tomlinson, riding the lead of the Rookies Championship, and he was just saying the track is so narrow and it's almost impossible to overtake on it, even on the mini moto. So small, there's so much more space than on the bigger bikes. It's just very tough as Matthew Thomas looks for a move on Austin Johnson, but I don't think he could quite make the gap appear that time. No, he could not. Onto the back straight we go. You can see there Austin Johnson with his clear visor. You can just see the dedication, the commitment, the focus on the face of the young rider as he tries a sublime move. He's still there. Oh, he has to stand the bike up a little bit as Polehill chopped across him coming to the exit of the corner, and that has compromised him dearly because now the front two being able to break away just a little bit as Johnson has to hold behind, but looks like they've managed to close the gap up pretty quickly. 5 laps to go now. It's still Byron Johnson leading the way with a new fastest lap of a 49.554 the last time round as well. And now Austin Johnson on the attack of Finley Polehill once again. It's that you attack in 1 second, defending the next.
Yeah, once again at the circuit we see a train race. It's so difficult to be able to break away, but the man who is attempting it right now is Byron Johnson, as you see his brother Austin trying to find the way past Polehill. Still, he's so confident though through this middle sector. You can see how fast he is through this left-hander. The long left leads into a flip-flop right. Can Austin Johnson just be able to get that drive to slingshot him out of this right-hander and down into the final sector of the track as Finley Polehill on the bright orange bike, the 199 on your screen right now, is under so much pressure. Matthew Thomas, he's still sitting there, he's still lurking. 4 laps to go, and it's Austin Johnson makes the move and makes it stick. Austin Johnson now gets past Finley Polehill with 4 laps to go in this race. He's in second place. Can he chase down his brother Byron? Byron Johnson sets the fastest lap of the race of 48.9 last time around. So Byron Johnson, he's going so quick. But what can Austin do now? Austin is unleashed, especially for a sector. Look at the amount of time that he will gain on his brother. It's bike lengths. It's 2 or 3 bike lengths. He's almost closed up the gap completely through that sector. If Austin Johnson can get in the lead this race, he is going to be a scary threat for the race victory, because now he's looking so confident. They power out the final corner. Can he get a slipstream? He has a little look check, no one's there, and he gets a 48.9 at the line. That is so impressive. A little bit off the lap record, but he has been so quick, and once again for this middle sector, he's looking so fast and so confident on the bike.
Oh, saying fast and confident, that is an understatement. Austin Johnson has been unleashed after he got through the cork in the bottle that was Finley Polehill. Of course, he's already wrapped up this championship at the last round. Mathematically, Byron Johnson, well, he can catch him, but Austin will still win on countback. And, well, it's just been a phenomenal season. He's a phenomenal rider. Well, the pair of them are the 2 brothers. But now it is a brother-to-brother fighting once again, as we're so used to seeing all throughout FAB. For some reason, it just seems to attract brothers who want to try and kill each other on a racetrack, apparently, as the Johnsons going at it for 2 more laps. And it will be Byron leading the way from Austin, who managed to get that second place with an absolutely sublime overtaking maneuver. Can he try and squeeze his way through as Finley Polehill still holding off from Matthew Thomas, and Austin Johnson tried to look for a gap but couldn't make it appear, and Byron Johnson just holding on to the race lead by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, he certainly is. Byron Johnson is leading the race lead. Byron Johnson on the 37, still leading the way. 1.5 laps to go in this race, and it's the older brother that wants to beat the younger brother. It is pride at the dinner table. Everything is on the line. It's going to be Austin Johnson who's going to have to try and find some specials now. They come towards Cal Maxwell, the 111 rider, the back marker. Byron Johnson gets past him safe, but Austin Johnson now gets held up from Cal Maxwell. He sets him up. He had to do that to keep his race victory hopes alive. Byron Johnson now powers it out for his middle sector. This is where his brother's so strong. The confidence that Austin Johnson has here is immense. They come through the long left. Can he close enough of a gap? Austin Johnson, he needs to find something special. He does find something special through that sector. It's just quarter of a lap to go. Austin Johnson on his brother Byron. Byron holding on by the skin of his teeth. One more corner to go to power it out. Austin Johnson cannot do anything. It's Byron who takes the race win and takes it in a commanding style. He couldn't do anything there. Austin Johnson could not do anything. He looked so strong, but Byron, his defensive skills was so impressive all the way throughout that race.
Wow, super mature ride from the younger brother Byron. I mean, no discredit to Austin Johnson, that was phenomenal, but Byron Johnson, wow, just defensive mastery, putting the bike exactly where he needed to put it, doing everything he could to keep his older brother behind him, and it worked out in the end. It's Byron Johnson with another race win, even if the championship can't be done. And was that someone going down there on the cool down lap? Hopefully everyone, there's a rider that's gone down. You can just see the bottom of your screen getting back on the bike.
Matthew Thomas.
Yes, Matthew Thomas. Oh, that's something you don't want to be doing. But Matthew Thomas going down on the cool down lap. He finished in P4, but it is Byron Johnson who finishes on the top step of the podium. It's champion Austin Johnson who finishes in second, with Finley Polehill rounding out the grid. Matthew Thomas, after going down on the cool down lap, he finishes in fourth, with Chloe Gleason in P5, Jensen Bishop with sixth, with Ollie O'Gorman in seventh, George Ackerman eighth, Rex Austin ninth, and Callum Maxwell rounding out the top 10. Actually, the last finisher we had, we unfortunately lost Sam Garner, Dylan Torian and Bradley Curtis. Of course, race 1 of 3 done, 2 more to come in the final round of the season here of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship. And what a race that was. A 5-way fight, then a 4-way fight, then a 3-way fight, then a 2-way fight, and there was drama from start to finish. And well, if the elites are going to be serving up 2 more races of that, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it was a great race, and there's more to come. 2 more races tomorrow, but of course today we still have plenty of action left for you. We still have 3 more races that is yet to come, and all the fans are watching trackside and are waiting for these next 3 races because they are going to be crackers. Next up, we will have race 1 of the senior mini motos. It is a massive field once again for these guys, and the championship is on the line. There was talks of the Birkin brothers not running transponders in the race, but we're going to have to wait to see what is going to happen and if they have transponders fitted on the motorcycles, because if they do not, they will not be classified and they will be disqualified from the race, which would hand the championship to Will Howard. So we're going to have to wait and see what is going to happen. But the story in qualifying was that Richard Holmes Williams was on fire, and he starts in pole position with a 49 dead, with Matt Birkin alongside him. His brother Josh Birkin will be starting in third, with Craig Ashell alongside him. Rhys Gentry in fifth, with Nick Bennett in sixth. David Myatt will be starting in seventh, with Chris Yeomans alongside him on the fourth row of the grid. Mark Payne will be starting ninth, with Callum White 10th. Keaton Payne and Alberto Venteo will be starting on the 6th row of the grid, with Lamar Morgan and Elliot Saylor will be starting in the 7th row of the grid. Jerome Richards will be starting in 15th, and Shannon King alongside him in 16th. Isaac Greenstreet's related to the Greenstreet Sidecar team will be starting 17th position, with Steve Johns in 18th, and Rob Gentry will be starting 19th, father of Rhys Gentry. So it's great to see such a big field here and such a lot of families getting involved in this championship.
Absolutely. I mean, the senior mini motos is it is a fun championship, to put it mildly. It's a chaotic championship, to put it seriously. But it's also one, where families get involved, friends get involved, and it is always great fun to watch. But we'll have to find out, in a few moments' time, if the Birkins are running transponders or not. Because again, if those two don't have transponders on the bikes, then they're not classified, and they're doing the sportsmanship thing of letting Will Howarth win the championship despite his injury causing him to miss the final 2 rounds. It's time to go racing, shall we? Let's watch for the green flag. We're underway. It's a great start there from Matt Birkin, but Richard Holmes Williams manages to hold on to the lead, but Matt Birkin's going to sweep around the outside. The 5 takes the lead, coming through turn 1 with a super brave overtake. Josh Birkin was not able to follow suit of Richard Holmes Williams. Oh my word! Talk about tight. That was superbly close. and he has spotted the opportunity and grabbed it with two hands. Back into the lead he goes. It's now Holmes Williams from Matt Birkin, from Josh Birkin, Craig Ashall following them in fourth, and I believe it's Reece Gentry following them in fifth place. And the Birkin boys, the last thing they want to be doing right now is fighting. If they are planning to take this championship from Will Howarth, if they are running transponders on the bikes, which according to our timing they are, then they need to stop fighting. They need to just put their attention on dispatching Richard Holmes Williams, who leads the first lap here, and maximising their points.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Richard Holmes Williams leads the way after lap one. Both the Birkin brothers are behind him. Josh Birkin, fastest lap of the race on lap one, a 52 dead. So Matt Birkin and Josh Birkin, both of them are running transponders, and both of them have set their championship chances alight, because Will Howarth, he is not here. He has a back injury after high-siding at Clandell. Our second visit to Clandell this year, but trying to dive up the inside there was Matt Birkin on Richard Holmes Williams, the tractor they call him in the paddock. But on track, he's certainly not a tractor. He is motoring on, and he is doing it in fine style, both in the senior mini moto class and in the moto team. He's been showing some great pace. Sorry, in the Stream 200 he's been showing some great pace, and great pace it is right now, because he's leading the way with 7 laps to go in this race, and fastest lap of the race, just half a second off his qualifying lap pace. So it's just showing how quick he is, because all the way throughout qualifying he was sitting in the mid 49s, and it's shown in this race that he's able to do that at race pace with the amount of pressure that Matt Birkin is trying to pile on. Although Matt Birkin has a championship on the line, he is not caring. He is going all out and all attack mode. He looks up the inside and he backs out of it. He cannot make that move work, because we talk about this track being so tight and narrow, but these riders on these bikes, with them being so big, it's even more difficult for these guys to make the moves.
It is really tough, especially for the senior mini motos, to try and dive a nose up the inside. It's once again Matt Birkin. I mean, we talk about Richard Holmes Williams with this amazing pace, but what we're forgetting is what the Matt Birkin, it's right on his rear, and actually set the fastest lap that time of 49.416 for Matt Birkin. As we keep watching this lead battle, Holmes Williams just about holding on, but Matt Birkin, and while they're battling, actually Josh Birkin's actually closed up to the back of them once again. So Josh Birkin trying to make this a three-way fight once again. Matt Birkin a little bit too far back this time. I don't think we'll be diving to the inside. No, yes he does, and it's brilliant! It's brilliant from Matt Birkin. Into the lead of the race he goes. Wow, I thought he was way too far back, but he got huge drive out of the corner, sent it up the inside. Superb stuff from the 5.
Yeah, it's so impressive what he's done there. He did a rehearsal last time around, and he did it this time around. But Richard Holmes Williams, look how confident he is, look how much of an attack he is. He looks at the outside that, so he tries to get a far sweeper line, carry all that corner speed. He might get held up mid-corner, but they power out, and Richard Holmes Williams on the 126 is wanting that first place back, is wanting that race win. Now they're approaching back markers. That is Green Street. They managed to get past him, and get past him they do, but Richard Holmes Williams is now on the tail of Matt Birkin. Can he replicate what Matt Birkin did 1 lap ago? No, he cannot. He's so confident though. You can just see he's trying to find this way, that way, any way past he will happily go. Just further back though, Josh Birkin on the number 2 is watching this all unfold and will be licking his lips. He will be sensing an opportunity if these guys start to squabble, these guys start to fight. More back markers now getting in the way. They come across the line. 4 laps to go in this race, and it's 2/10 of a gap at the line as Richard Holmes Williams looks around the outside. Once again, Josh Birkin there. Down, Josh Birkin down at turn 1, remount straight away. That could be a massive blow to his championship.
The exhaust is, there you go, it's leaking oil. It's leaking oil. There's no way that thing is intact. The exhaust is at an angle, to put it politely. I think that thing is leaking as Richard Holmes Williams back to the lead after a very strange series of incidents for Josh Birkin. We're not sure how he's gone down, but the matter of the fact is that he has gone down. He could be out of this race, and he could be waving bye-bye to his championship hopes. It all rests on the 5 of Matt Birkin now, who is still fighting with Richard Holmes Williams, the tractor boy. As Williams runs wide, almost unseats himself on the rumble strips, but just about manages to hold on to the bike as they squeeze through turn 1 and into the centre corner. And Birkin, he's just pushing so hard. He's trying this way and that way to get through. And he's racing smart as well. We're more used to seeing the Birkins race with their heart more than their minds, typically. They let their emotions run wild, shall we say. But these last couple of rounds, now that they've realised that they're in with a championship chance because of Will Howard's injury, it's been a different brand of Birkins from both of them. They've both been racing so smart. It's been lethal. I mean, if they'd have been doing this all year, they would have waltzed away with the championship, and it's just not them. And I understand it's not them, but it's just so interesting to see that when a championship comes into a picture, just how much a rider can change.
Yeah, it just shows they know how to race with their mind. But they come across the line now, 2 laps to go, and Richard Holmes-Williams is under so much pressure right now from Matt Birkin. Josh Birkin right now is dropping down the timing sheets. He may be out of this race. We're going to have to wait and find out. Josh Birkin, that looks like his rear tyre was slightly deflated, but Richard Holmes-Williams there gets held up by some traffic. They're now approaching Shannon King to see if they can get past it. It's really when you get to these back markers. Richard Holmes-Williams now powers it out. So does Matt. Matt now looks up the inside. He makes it work, and he also gets past Shannon King. Richard Holmes-Williams tries to take a far more sweeping line. We're seeing this quite a lot, that he's taking different lines from Matt Birkin because he knows how hard it is to pass on this track, so he has to do something different. He has to invent something special. But Matt Birkin leads the way from Richard Holmes-Williams. These guys are powering it on, and their guys are on the last lap now, and they're fighting it out as Richard Holmes-Williams looks around the outside. Once again, this is the line he likes to take through this sector, but he gets held up slightly mid-corner, tries to power it out and tries to make it work into this hairpin. Can he make it work this time around? No, he cannot, but he does close up quite a lot, half a lap to go now. They power it on towards the back straight and towards the fast sweeping left-hander. We see how fast Richard Holmes-Williams has been this race, just like Matt has, and he cannot make it work. He is running out of time here. Richard Holmes-Williams, the man who everyone thought was going to dominate, is in second place right now, but he's trying to get tucked in, get in that slipstream and get past Matt Birkin as Josh drops down the order even further. They come across the line though, and Matt Birkin will win the race from Richard Holmes-Williams. What a race that was from the guys, and what a difference that it's going to make in the championship standings. Craig Ashall, we are waiting for him to cross the line now. Craig Ashall should come home in third place, and what a race that was from Matt Birkin. And Josh Birkin, his brother, is just tumbling down the order right now. Josh Birkin, that is not the race that he would have wanted at all, but what a race that was from Matt, and what great showing it was of how smart he was being there, as Josh Birkin was sitting in 11th as we wait to see if he will cross the line there.
I think unfortunately that has put Josh Birkin out of mathematical contention for the championship. Even if he gets into the points, if he stays in the points, stays in the top 15, unfortunately it will not be enough, and he does finish 11th, but I don't think it's enough to be within the magic 50-point margin which he needed to take him to race 2 to still be in that championship contention. What a shame for Josh Birkin. It just shows how it can all go so wrong so quickly. But what a race we've just seen there. Richard Holmes-Williams and Matt Birkin fighting it out like there's no tomorrow. And again, we've got 2 races to look forward to tomorrow. It's been a fantastic Fab finale so far, and there is plenty more action to come your way over the remainder of this afternoon and all day tomorrow. Well then, time to get ready for the opening race of the Mini F1 sidecars. And, well, once again, it's Mick Williams on pole. Not really much else needs to be said there, the 26, after taping yet another championship, although perhaps not as dominant as previous years. They're going off pole again, but the Green Street's looking close. The Green Street's, the sidecar's looking very comfortable, is what I'd say. When we were watching in practice and watching in qualifying, Williams, we know that Williams likes the 26 to slide and move around under him. The Green Street's, the thing looks glued to the track.
Yeah, it certainly does. And the Red Bull outfit, number 26, is heading on to the grid now, but Williams, they're just so consistent and so strong. It's so impressive from these guys. And Green Streets, they've just been consistent, but they've been missing that couple of tenths of a second, and now we are waiting for these guys to come out on their warm-up lap. And in third place, Vince Bailey there on the 3.69. He had quite a disappointing round last time out, but now we wait to see what is going to happen. Mick Williams, the number 26 outfit, will be starting in pole position with the green streaks alongside him. Vince Bailey, the number 369, will be starting in third, with Chris Impey alongside him on the second row of the grid. Chris Impey, though, will be using Jack Andrews this weekend. I don't know if it's every single race or maybe just a couple, but Jack Andrews will be on the sidecar. He was out in qualifying and he was looking very good. Yes, Jack Andrews is on that sidecar. Matt Parker on the 230 will be starting in fifth, with John Hosker alongside him, and making the comeback back to sidecar racing, mini F1 sidecar racing. It is the number 3 outfit. It is Iona Glover. What a race we are in store for. It is going to be an excellent race, and these guys are going to take it to the check flag, because this is the final round. Tension is starting to build for the sidecar guys, and we wait for the flag to rise in the air, and then it'll drop, and then we'll go racing. What a start that was there from the green streaks, but Mick Williams got it hooked up in the power band, and they got away at the front. Now Vince Bailey, great start from them. Jack Andrews now powering out through as well in fourth place, staying in that fourth place. Is the first ever sidecar start. Mick Williams, though, putting down the hammer straight away on the 26. Green streaks, though, just like slow from the green streaks there, maybe missed the gear. Powering out through, is everything okay with the green streaks? It looks like it was just a slight mistake. And there, further back, the 230 of Mark Parker is getting past Chris Impey. Chris Impey now, how will they be able to fight back? These sidecars are so wide, this track is so narrow. You have to be so forceful and so committed to be able to make a move. There's Chris Impey there, having a little look up the inside, but he cannot make it work. They power out for these sidecar guys. Do not use the infield section. It's a slightly shorter lap. It's about 36 seconds that these guys can do it in. Currently, though, Mick Williams leads the way by 2 seconds already.
He does indeed, as the green streaks run off the track once again, and oh my goodness me, chaos further back in the field, bumping off each other. Impey's looking like he's got problems, because Jack Andrews, his first race as a passenger, he's normally used to being on a two-wheel machine, as you can tell, as the thing nearly goes over on itself, and that allows the 127, the Hoskermobile, to try and squeeze up the inside. Oh my goodness me, completely too wide, side by side. You can't script this stuff, can you? Brilliant sidecar racing action, if slightly morbidly dangerous. Oh my word, and Impey's still going. Jack Andrews and Chris Impey trying around the outside. Oh, that would have been the overtake of the day if they pulled that off. Wow, Jack Andrews, I tell you what, you might have a future career as a passenger if your motorcycle racing doesn't work out, mate. This is some quality stuff from the 4.57 of Chris Impey. It is still Mick Williams that leads the way. They've now got 2.5 seconds on the green streets, who they themselves have about 8 seconds on the Baileys, and then again another 4 back to the Parkers behind them. And then it's this action-packed at the back of the field with the Impeys and Hosker, and then Iona Glover will have returned to mini F1 sidecars, as once again it's Hosker and Impey neck and neck through the tight and twisty down at the S's. And this is absolutely superb. The action, the championship may be wrapped up, but the action, it persists, it remains. They're fighting for P5 on a grid of 7, and you could just tell this means everything to them right now.
Yeah, it certainly does. 3 laps to go in this race. It's Jack Andrews on the passenger of Chris Impey, who's looking to get past Hosker and looking to fight still. Oh, what a move that was there. Perfectly executed, perfectly done. And he just got past in fine fashion. Round the outside they went. A little tip of the sidecar there, but Jack Andrews, he will be loving life. He will be loving this. This is close, hard racing for them, and Jack Andrews, it's something completely new to him. It's something that he's never really done before. But Jack Andrews, he loves trying new and different things and loves challenging himself. 2 laps to go though in this race. McWilliams sets the fastest lap of the race, a 36.5 and a 4.5 second lead that they have on the green streets up front. But there is Iona Glover, I believe. No, that is the 2 AC40 of Mark Parker that they're catching up on now, and 1 lap to go on this race, and it's going to be Mick Williams who leads the way on that last lap on the red bull outfit. There they are, getting past the Sidecar, lapping some traffic. I believe that is the number 3 of Iona Glover, but there's the green streaks tipping into this long left-hander, the number 90 of, it's such a nice outfit. But there's your race leaders. There is Mick Williams, number 26, dominant fashion all season long. They have had ups, they have had downs, but this is an up. This is another race win to add to the trophy cabinet. Mick Williams, another fine fashion win, and there is the green streaks racing to the line with Iona Glover, but Iona Glover was just getting a lap there. But green streaks, what a race it was once again, but it looks like they are not too happy with that result, and they are just going back to the paddock to rethink on the strategy tomorrow, because there was a few mistakes from them.
Well, all it took was one mistake on the opening lap, and that was what gave Mick Williams the brakes. They were holding on to the back of him, as there we see that's John Hosker bringing it home in P6. Another brilliant race in the Sidecar, and there goes Jack Andrews waving to the crowd and the camera with a cheer. Absolutely star of the day for him. That was a phenomenal performance from the 457, and to have someone who's never even been on a Sidecar as your passenger, and the passenger was doing a fantastic job. That is absolutely brilliant from Chris Impey and Jack Andrews. It's Mick Williams at the 26. They take another victory in the Mini S1 Sidecars, with the green streets on the 90 coming home in P2, and the 369 of Vince Bailey rounds out the podium. Mark Parker was 4th on the 230. Chris Impey and Jack Andrews were P5 on the 457. John Hosker was 6th on the 127, and it was Iona Glover on a return to Mini F1 Sidecars after timeout for an injury on the 3, rounding out the grid. Of course, 2 more races, the final 2 races of the season still to come for the Mini F1 Sidecars tomorrow. So do not panic, do not be scared. There's still plenty more of that action, and I want more of that action. That was amazing.
Yeah, it certainly was. They're heading back into the paddock now after race 1, and what a race that was. But coming up now, it is race 1 of the Pit Bike 140s, the closest class that we have here at FAB, and certainly it is a massive class. 24 motorcycles will be lining up on the grid for what will be an incredible race, I am sure. 24 bikes, it will be so close. The championship is already decided. Rossi Banham took the championship in fine fashion. He's running the number 1 plate this time around to celebrate it. 196 he normally runs, but he is going to be enjoying life. He's going to be having fun this time around. It's going to be a close race between him and Lucas Brown, it's looking like. Lucas Brown there on your screen normally runs 29 in the British Talent Cup, but here at FAB he's number 7. So Lucas Brown, a very impressive qualifying from him. It was so close in qualifying actually, and it was something that in qualifying it was very hard for these riders to get clear track and just be able to get a lap in without having riders disrupt their rhythm, because in this rhythm is going to be everything. You can just see riders slightly confused on where they might be starting, it seems, positioning their bikes so then they can get ready to race towards the first corner. Checks being done. Samuel Munson there coming into the picture and coming lads. To his grid slot and ready to race. But yeah, some of these guys taking slightly longer to come out, but Lucas Brown and Rossi Banham having a little joke and having a little laugh at the front of the grid. Great friends off the track and great friends on the track as well, although they will still fight each other so hard. But we're waiting for these guys to head out on the warm-up lap, and then we can get underway. It's going to be a great race. But big welcome to all the riders that is coming for the final round here at FAB from other championships. A big welcome if you're just joining us. You're just in time to watch the final race of the day here at FAB. It is Saturday, it is the final race 1 of the season. They head out now. Lucas Brown will be starting from pole position with Rossi Banham, his sparring partner, the championship winner alongside him. Reese Peacock and Chris Wells will be on second row of the grid, with Samuel Munson and the newly crowned Moto Team Standard champion Jamie King will be starting 6th. Cameron So, good qualifying from him in 7th, with Zach Tureen in 8th, Liam Wood 9th, Clayton Edmonds will be starting in 11th, Elliot Crosby 11th, Sean Whitaker 12th, Chandler Whiten 13th, Alex Vela 14th, Keaton Payne will be starting in 5th 15th of Steve Moody alongside him in 16th. Ollie Vincent will be starting 17th with Paul Nozell will be starting 18th. Ben Ridwell will be starting 19th with Paul Clifford alongside him. Dave Glover and Charlie Eaglin will be starting on the 11th row of the grid, with Keelan Calvert will be starting 23rd, thanks Ross, and Simon Portis, who we spoke to at the start of the weekend, will be starting 24th in his first ever FAB-Racing, second ever race weekend. So a mix in abilities here, and it's going to be a great race.
It is going to be a great race. And it's all eyes on the front. You see that? That looks like Lucas Brown actually just wiping his helmet or something there. So maybe he got something on it, but hopefully he's all alright. As we get ready for the first race of the Pit Bike 140s. It's always great at pit bikes, and it's always underway. We're going to great start from the champion. Rossi Banham is in the background. Disaster strikes for Jamie King. I think that was Chris Wells, I think, also got caught up in that. So big problems for some big names, but it is the champion, the number one, the junior superstock rider, Rossi Banham, who takes the lead away from the line. What a start he had. Lucas Brown, no disrespect, it was a good start, but Rossi's was just on another level as we head down into the fast and flowing S's for the first time. A huge left-hander straight into another left-hander. It's like a double apex, except on absolute steroids as they head through there. And Rossi Banham starting to bridge a gap. Of course, he will get his championship celebration after the third race. All of the championships will be celebrated after race 3s as Brown runs wide out of the final corner. But this one, he's just out there for fun, maybe a bit of track time with some friends as well. But he wants to end this season on a high with a big smile under the helmet and prove that he is the number one.
Yeah, he certainly does. Rossi Banham still has time to have fun on his bike. Brands Hatch, though, will be his next week after his first ever season in the junior superstock class, and going to Brands Hatch with a number 1 plate will still feel very, very good. It keeps him bike fit and keeps him bike ready and keeps his mind up to speed, because he has to be up to speed with Lucas Brown just behind him. But at the start, Chris Wells having a massive jump and having to shut off the throttle. Jamie King sadly had to back out of it there, otherwise he would have ran into the back of him. So they guys are very far down the order, 12th and 13th for them right now, which is not where we expect them to be. But Rossi Banham up front right now, that is where we expect him to be. Yeah, very wide, managed maybe just get a late apex and hopefully just manage to get the drive out the corner. Lucas Brown is still in second. Jamie King now getting past some of the bikes, making his way up the order. It's using his head, and now Clayton Edmonds is just in front of him. He's had a great season in the British Town Cup, but now Jamie King, he's having to make a recovery ride. So is Chris Wells.
Is indeed Clayton Edmonds on his return to FAB-Racing after clinching the 2021 Mini GP50 Championship and disappeared off to British Talent Cup in Spain and other things for reasons no one's really quite sure. But it's Clayton Edmonds, great to have him back, and Jamie King trying to fight him as we go along. But it is still Rossi Banham that leads the way up the front, but fighting all throughout the order here. As we can see, this is Alex Villa, Sean Whittaker, Chadley Whiting, all giving each other a go. Sean Whittaker, I think, is having a bit of a disappointing race by his standards at the moment. We'd expect to see him a bit more further up the field, but he's making the best of the situation, trying to force his way through, and there he goes. Spots the gap, gets the power down. It's going to be the outside, but no, shuts the door. Great move by Sean Whittaker to take that will be P12 now. Awesome stuff from him. And up front as well, in front of these guys, once again, Elliot Crosby, Clayton Edmonds, Jamie King, Chris Wells fighting as a bike off the road there. Looks like mechanical problems for one of the riders. Hopefully everything is okay and they can get it started again, but that looks pretty hopeless if you ask me. And that is a shame, as Rossi Banham, he's just pumping in fastest lap after fastest lap. That last one was ridiculously quick. I'm not going to call it a lap record yet, because I don't think it is. No, not quite. Rossi has the lap record with a 46.411. That was a 46.5898, so he's not far off it, and the track conditions have got worse throughout the day because of the weather. So he's just flying at the moment. He's doing what Rossi does.
Yeah, he certainly is, and that is win the race so far. But Still a long way to go. 7 laps to go. 6 laps now at the line. He's coming towards some back markers though. He manages just to get past cleanly and safely. That's exactly what you want to be doing at this point in the race. Lucas Brown still has all these guys to get past at this infield circuit, at the infield part of the track. It's so difficult to get past them here. You really want to reach them at this point now. Going onto the back straight, it'll be so much easier if you catch them there. Rossi Banham, have a little peek behind him, seeing where Lucas Brown is, and now Rossi Banham sets a new lap record with 46.384. He's destroyed his own lap record that he set last year at this circuit. So Rossi Banham, he is on fire and he's putting on a great show for everyone at the moment. But yes, now Rossi Banham powers it towards the line. 5 laps to go in this race, and he comes round the hairpin, shoots it out the corner and powers it away through from his rival Lucas Brown. Of course, this round there will be no Taylor Lawrence, as Taylor Lawrence is away and doing other things with his career. So Rossi Banham, a new lap record, and there is confirmation of that, a 46.384. What a lap time, and even though he's won the championship, he's still giving it his absolute everything.
We've seen this before from Rossi, when he just disappears up the front and he starts just to push. It turns into almost like a hot lap session from like he's playing a video game. He just starts to push a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more each lap. And these last couple of laps it won't go because he's been held up by back markers, and similarly he's about to be here, which is a shame. But I've seen him do it 2-3 times maybe this season. One time he just broke his own lap record just 4 times in a row because he just has that ability just to find time on a pit bike that no one else can find, and it's just unreal. I mean, you go and watch him at the side of a track, it's like watching art. It is unbelievable the things this man can do on a pit bike machine. Lucas Brown though, giving him good chase, trying his absolute best. Gap is 3 seconds at the moment, and Lucas we know is a top rider as well. He'll be going all out at this point, trying to desperately close down the gap to Rossi, especially with so few laps left. But running into some back markers, it would seem, so it may be that he decides to shut up shop, just bring the bike home in a sensible position and take the points. Of course, no point trying to fight Rossi because Rossi's already won the championship. Lucas, meanwhile, is in a battle for the vice championship with Reese Peacock, and there's only 1 point in it coming into this race. Coming out of this race, it'll be 4 points in the favour of Lucas, as we see there trying to dive up the inside of some back markers, getting through the lap traffic. It is difficult out there. Of course, no blue flags in FAB-Racing, so you've really just got to try and catch the traffic at the best possible time and just force your way through them, which can be very, very tough indeed. And with 3 laps to go, it's Banham from Brown from Peacock.
Yeah, Rossi Banham, great performance in race 1 here for the Pit Bike 140s. He's leading the race, he's leading it in fine fashion. 3.3 seconds, and there's Reese Peacock's number 29, powering it through and trying to keep that championship position hope alive. He's trying to score as much points as possible, and Lucas Brown, though, that he is not helping matters with that. Samuel Budson have a great ride, but there's a rider down on the deck there, so not what you'd be wanting at all. He's had a big moment, but Rossi Banham up front is still leading the way. 2 laps to go in this race. Yellow flags are out, of course, at that corner, and Rossi Banham comes through and just showing how confident he is being with that motorcycle, leading it, and the red flag is out. Red flag in this race. There was 2 laps to go in this race, so Rossi Banham should take the race win for this race. More points towards the championship that he's already won. He already has number 1 plate, but red flag is out with 2 laps to go, and that should decide the race, with Rossi Banham taking the win from Lucas Brown and Reese Peacock coming home in 3rd. And there is confirmation of that checker flag, so the race will be declared as a result. So Rossi Banham will take the race lead by 3.1 seconds over Lucas Brown.
What a great ride from Rossi. That's an unfortunate way. No one wants to see a race end with a red flag, giving an accident. Hopefully all involved in that incident are okay, and we'll let you know how everyone is doing as soon as we know here in the commentary booth. But it will be Rossi Banham taking the race victory from Lucas Brown in P2, and Reese Peacock rounding out the podium in P3. Lucas Brown jumps Peacock in the standings, crucially. Now 4 points clear of Reese Peacock, so he's moved up into the vice championship position. A few of the riders having some words with the marshals. There we see Jamie King of the 76 and the 62 of Chris Wells as well. And in comes the 12 behind them, Sean Whittaker. Probably having discussing the absolute mess of a start that Chris Wells got. Confirmation though of the race result. It's Rossi Banham from Lucas Brown from Reese Peacock, Sammy Monson P4, Cameron Saul P5, Jamie King managed to work as well to P6 with a great ride. Zach Turin 7th, Chris Wells 8th, Clayton Edmonds 9th and Elliot Crosby in P10. That is it then for Saturday, the final Saturday of the year here at FAB Racing. We've still got 2 more races of each of the classes left in the season. And well, we've had a great day's racing so far today. Still a few championships left to be lapped up, Lewis. It's all to play for.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's going to be a great day of racing tomorrow. The great final day of the season. It's going to be some awesome racing. Championships still to be decided. We've seen some champions made today. Luke Fitchett wraps up the Mini GP 50 title, but plenty to come tomorrow. And it's going to be very, very enjoyable. But it's going to be a great day of racing. Hopefully conditions are going to be similar to what they were today, because riders were very, very lucky.
Yeah, they were absolutely gorgeous today. There was a few moments of cloud cover, but overall, as you can see, basking in the sunlight. Oh, the fans watching along. And, well, it's been a very enjoyable days of racing. Thank you very much for joining us here for round 8, the finale of the FAB Racing Mini Bike British Championship. But of course, Sunday brings race 2s and race 3s for all of the classes. So we'll be back tomorrow morning to bring you all of the action from here in Red Lodge. It's been a real pleasure. We'll see you tomorrow.